Igor Tudor. Guglielmo Vicario in goal, despite the fact that he is due to undergo surgery after this game. He is going to try and get through this one first. In front of him, Kevin Danso comes in for Radu Dragusin. He's alongside Christian Romero, the captain, and Mickey van der Ven. Jed Spence down the left, Pedro Porro down the right, Archie Gray and Pape Matar in the midfield, and then Richarlison, who scored that massive goal at the end against Liverpool at Anfield, is alongside Matthias Tell and Dominic Solanke in attack, who comes in for Randell Kolo Muani from the team that played in the Champions League in midweek. For Nottingham Forest, they also were in European action this week. They got past Midtjylland on penalties. They didn't start with many of the 11 that are playing today. They held a lot of them back. And this is how they line up. Matt Sells is in goal. A back four of Ola Aina, Nikola Milenkovic, Murillo and Nico Williams. A midfield of Elliot Anderson, Ibrahim Sangare and Morgan Gibbs-White. And then Callum Hudson-Odoi and Omari Hutchinson, who's the one change from the 11 that played in their last league game against Fulham. He comes in for Nicolas Dominguez. Him and Hudson-Odoi are alongside Igor Jesus up front. Tottenham Hotspur's players in white shirts, blue shorts and white socks. Forest in the familiar red shirts, white shorts and red socks, the Garibaldi. And on the bench for Spurs, Antonin Kinski, Radu Dragusin, João Palhinha, Xavi Simons, Destiny Udogi, Lucas Bergvall, Conor Gallagher, Souza and Randall Kolo Muani. And for Forest it's Ortega, Morata, Awonyi, Ndoye, Dominguez, Yates, McAtee, Nets and Bakwa. And the referee is Michael Oliver. And we're off and underway. Tottenham Hotspur against Nottingham Forest, live here from Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Incredible noise inside the ground. And both sets of fans, it has to be said, have been answering the call to wear the colours of the shirts the teams are wearing today. Quite often you'll see a lot of shirts at any match, but even more so today. You can see the white of Tottenham round more than 3/4 of the stadium, and in that corner away to our left, a swathe of red in the lower echelons of that stand as Mickey van der Ven battling away to win the ball against Omari Hutchinson. Still under pressure is the Dutchman, still trying to get away, and then he thumps it upfield beyond Richarlison. Milenkovic is there, he plays it back down the line. Van der Ven's there again with the header. Sarr then hooks it forward. Richarlison's underneath this. He's going to have a difficult time trying to win that against Milenkovic. He's such a man mountain. He wouldn't be out of place in Game of Thrones, Milenkovic. Bradley, what an atmosphere!
Yeah, great atmosphere already. The game in the opening minute full of duels, aerial challenges, a lot of fight, attritional, not too much football played. No surprise there with the pressure on this one.
So, Bradley Allen alongside me, Andy Rowley, for this live commentary with Total Sport on BBC Radio London. We're also live on digital right now with West Ham's game at Aston Villa, of huge importance as well, on this day where we'll also see the first major trophy in English football of this season won by either Arsenal or Manchester City at Wembley, not too far away. Here's Archie Gray bursting forward. He's only just turned 20. Given all he's achieved already, it's an amazing effort he's put in. Now down the right, it goes to Aina. He's well forward here, looking to try and get the ball into the box. Gibbs-White was there, but it's cut out before he can reach it by Romero. Hutchinson's quickly onto it though, the former Chelsea youngster gets it back to Gibbs-White. He's going to swing the cross in. That's a header up in the air by Danso. He did really well there. Igor Jesus looked favourite for a moment.
Excellent attack. Hutchinson looked sharp off the back of Van der Ven. The cross was recycled. Aina's ball in, and it was a good header from Danso, but there goes Spence against his former team. Spence bursting forward, and across comes Murillo and just gets to that ball first. Spence showing his pace there down the right-hand side. Now it's played forward by Forest. Sangare can't find a teammate though, and Solanke breaking away from Sangare, but then he thought Richarlison was going to just wait for him. Richarlison actually thought he was going to get a through ball into the penalty area, and Forest were able to intercept.
Yeah, pretty fast start. First sort of passage of play where it's gone end to end. I think importantly, becoming the heartbeat of this Spurs side. The watch for me is that midfield battle. Two English players really talented, fantastic potential. Anderson against Archie Gray. That's going to be an amazing watch this afternoon.
It's not beyond the stretch of imagination to see those two playing in the England senior team in a few years' time together, Bradley. They're that good, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Anderson's already broken into that team. As Sangare plays it short to Aina on the right-hand side. Aina, the former Fulham loanee, helping it on to Hutchinson. Now Anderson, born in Whitley Bay in the northeast, of course, would have been plenty watching the Tyne-Wear derby up there earlier on today, which Sunderland came back to win 2-1 after Anthony Gordon had given Newcastle the lead. So a bad few days for Newcastle after they were run ragged by Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League. Here's Hudson-Odoi, former Chelsea player, getting it into the box. Need to clear it here through Sarr. He's slipped as he tries to make the clearance. Then Gray steps in. Richarlison knocked off the ball there by Nico Williams, who's arguing the point with referee Michael Oliver. It is a free kick to Tottenham, and things calm down for the first time in 4 minutes since kickoff.
Yeah, Romero just saying to the referee, Williams challenge, stopping Spurs breaking and counter-attacking from a deep position on transition now, but just looking that early chance, ball teased in, good header, wasn't it, Danso, just preventing just getting on the end of that curling swinging cross that went in for Nottingham Forest.
Ball forward towards Richarlison, nice header on towards Solanke, dealt with at the back by Milenkovic. Now Nico Williams, another former Fulham loanee in this Forest side, getting that forward. It's headed down by Danso on the halfway line. Spence coming across to the touchline in the pink boots, trying to get away here from Anderson, does well Spence, then tries to nudge it forward towards Pedro Porro. Anderson swinging his arms around, and he's got the decision for the referee. Free kick to Forest, and Anderson applauding the decision.
Yeah, not sure. Full-blooded that, wasn't it? Right in front of the Spurs technical area, but the referee was across it. Big game for him this afternoon. Some huge decisions, undoubtedly, for Michael Oliver to make across this particular Premier League fixture.
Ball down the left touchline for Hudson-Odoi. Pedro Porro and Spence doubling up on him. Now Anderson to Hudson-Odoi again. Hudson-Odoi dinks it off the outside of his boot. Here's Anderson! Anderson towards the edge of the 6-yard box. He's gone down, but the referee says no.
Yeah, it was really clever, wasn't it? It was just a little scoop pass, and he broke into the left half space, Anderson into the penalty box. He just stumbled a little bit after his touch. It wasn't a foul, and the opportunity was just lost. But again, Forest have started quite brightly, Andy, I'd say. You know, they're playing with confidence, they're working the ball towards and into that final third with an idea and some quality.
I wonder, Bradley, if somewhere a certain Ange Postecoglou is sitting back watching this today. He'd
Every
have
chance.
An interest, for sure. Because both of these teams, as you mentioned at the start of the programme, Bradley, given what Forest did last season, how good Spurs could be, it's incredible how they both got to this point where they're in such trouble. I mean, Forest almost got in the Champions League last season.
They certainly did. But they are, having won midweek in that second leg penalty shootout, now in the quarters of the Europa League, which is obviously a competition that they can push for with the remaining teams in that. And I think, you know, amongst their team and the spirit within it, that will give them confidence going into this key game this afternoon.
And of course, another backdrop to it, Bradley, is the Spurs have got to watch out for Morgan Gibbs-White, given that he was a target in the summer. It's an old rule of football, isn't it?
Yeah, a really talented player.
Flicked on by Gray down the right. Richarlison is there on the halfway line. It's Tottenham 0, Nottingham Forest 0. You're listening to Total Sport on BBC Radio London, live here in North London, also live in the second city as West Ham United try and lift themselves out of the relegation zone with a win at Aston Villa. If they win, they are outside the bottom three, whatever happens in this match. Last night, Leeds United drew 0-0 with Brentford. It was what we'd probably call a slow burner, that one. Not many highlights on Match of the Day from that game, but Leeds getting a point, which could help them come the final reckoning. Tell pushed back towards his own goal line, plays a slightly dangerous ball across the box, but he finds Danso, who now threads a ball through the middle to Richarlison in the centre circle, lays it off to Sarr. The fans roaring them upfield now as it's played down the left-hand side for Solanke. He's bearing down on the edge of the penalty area, but a foot comes in from Milenkovic.
Yeah, good cover
for a throw-in.
Better from Spurs. First real attack with some quality, working the ball.
Solanke playing it back to Sarr. Here's Gray. Van der Ven's under a bit of pressure here from Hutchinson. Still holds on to it, gets it down the line. Tell's been caught there by Ola Aina, and it will be a throw into Spurs on the left-hand side. Just coming up to 9 minutes gone here on the home of London football. Tottenham 0, Forest 0 in this crucial match at the bottom of the Premier League table. Spence on the right-hand side, floating across in. Tell is going to try and keep that alive at the back post. Aina puts it behind, it's a corner.
Yeah, Richarlison, Solanke. Tell from the opposite side, from Spence's diagonal cross from Spurs' right. We're all pushing in and putting the Nottingham Forest defenders under pressure. First corner of the game.
Well, there was a bit of a dispute there between Ola Aina and his goalkeeper, but it looked like he couldn't hear any shout there, Aina, so he didn't take any chances, which is probably the wise thing to do. Sells was barking at him. Here comes the corner from the left for Spurs towards Danso at the near post, headed up in the air by Forest. They get it away through Igor Jesus. Out it goes to the left touchline. Spurs trying to hold on to it there through Tell, but he's just been out-muscled by Gibbs-White. Hutchinson now trying to break away as well, and Tottenham come across and put it out for a throw into Forest through Danso.
Yeah, Forest were strong and solid, weren't they? The near post delivery come in, headed it clear and defended the second phase out on that far side. Hutchinson is away on the flick on.
He's got pace as well. It just got slightly caught there on the heel, but he's still going, getting that ball out to the left to Hudson-Odoi. Gibbs-White rather is in the box. He gets it back to Nico Williams, does Hudson-Odoi. Williams, the little back heel. Hudson-Odoi's cross is too deep, and that will go beyond Gibbs-White and out for a goal kick to Spurs, and they jeer the misplaced cross.
Yeah, he just looked off that touch that Hutchinson was going to sort of break away there and threaten the heart of the Spurs defence. There was a slight clip of the heel that delayed his forward motion, and Spurs recovered, and when the cross from Nottingham Forest from that left-hand side was swung in by Hudson-Odoi, it was overstruck.
So it won't be Vicario to take the goal kicks today. I did speculate about this and thought I was probably making too much of it, but due to that hernia issue he's got, Vicario, it's going to be
expected surgery tomorrow, I believe, and out of the Italian squad, isn't he, the Spurs keeper?
And they're quite big matches Italy have got coming up. I mean, well, actually I say matches, Bradley, because if they were to lose to Northern Ireland, the second game is a friendly against the loser of the Wales-Bosnia one.
Really?
And no one wants to be involved in that friendly, do they? That's the.
Wonder what the attendance will be for that.
But yes, Italy's first one is in Bergamo against Northern Ireland in the playoff semi-final, if you like, for potentially the winner of that one faces what could be Wales in Cardiff if Wales get past Bosnia. Harry Wilson warmed up for that yesterday, Bradley, with yet another goal, 10th of the league season.
Terrific season, another fine goal for him.
Glad he'll
be on the radar of a few clubs, I think, as a free agent that he will be.
Yeah, great season he's had as the ball is played forward towards Richarlison. Claiming he got a bit of a nudge from his marker there, Murillo, fellow Brazilian at the back, but referee doesn't give anything. Let's go to Villa Park, get the very latest in that other crucial game that we're covering here at 2:15. It's West Ham at Aston Villa. Ross Heaton.
Aston Villa 0, West Ham 0. It's been a difficult start for West Ham. He lost Jean-Claire Todibo. He was named in the starting 11, but Freddie Potts has had to replace him, and they've gone to a back four. Villa have been pressing very hard. They've put in some dangerous set pieces from Matty Cash. Aston Villa 0, West Ham 0.
Thanks, Ross. Very, very close call from Tottenham at the Forest end of the ground. It was Matthias Tell cutting into the penalty area from the left-hand side. He beat the first defender, then got his shot away right-footed. It was blocked and has gone behind for a corner to Spurs.
Yeah, the switch of play from right to left-hand side on the diagonal was amazing from Archie Gray. What a pass. It enabled Tell a 1v1. He sat Aina down, but recovering Nottingham Forest defenders got the blocking, but it's another corner. The momentum's building here.
Here it comes, floated in over the head of Romero, and no one attacking that at the back post there. Danso was there, but it went beyond him, and it's gone out for a corner from the other side. Anyone just running in at the back post there, corner of the 6-yard box, might have had a free header.
Yeah, Tell trying to lift the amazing Tottenham Hotspur fans in that south stand and around the stadium. They're just sort of sensing nearly 14 minutes on the clock. This could be an opportunity. Spurs across the season, that has been one of their better attacking attributes. Strong from attacking set plays. Could this give them a goal?
Here it comes then from Tell. He's going to float it. Beautiful delivery towards Richarlison. It's just wide. Coming back across the face of goal. And it's going to be a goal kick to Nottingham Forest. 14 minutes on the clock. It remains Spurs 0, Forest 0.
Yeah, again, far post delivery. He just hung out and he come in on it. He might even be a bit disappointed with that, Richarlison, because he had a free jump. He was unmarked. Archie Gray sort of blocked Williams, I think it was, in a similar area, and he tried to head it back across. Sells the keeper just wide of the post.
He's kind of taken his eye off it at the last moment with the players right in front of him, hasn't he, Richarlison, who, as I mentioned, got that important goal at the last weekend. Here's Solanke coming forward, will be across to Villa Park in just a moment. As Solanke plays it out to Pedro Porro. They're right on the edge of the Forest penalty area here. Pedro Porro just waits a moment, and the crowd don't like the hesitation. There's men in the box, they want it in the mixer. Here goes Pedro Porro again. Cross comes off. Nico Williams is out for a throw-in. Let's get to Villa Park. Aston Villa against West Ham. Ross Heaton.
It's Aston Villa 1, West Ham 0. It's John McGinn with a free kick right off the training ground. West Ham caught cold. They played the free kick square from Cash. McGinn curled it into the bottom corner. Aston Villa 1, West Ham 0.
Potentially big blow for West Ham in their battle to stay in the Premier League. Potentially good news for both these sides here today, but neither of them will be thinking about that at the moment. Danso with the long throw into the box. It flicks up in the air. Richarlison there on the edge of the 6-yard box, just advancing, trying to nod that in under the crossbar, but it's cleared away by Forest, and away it comes to the left touchline. Forest desperately trying to get the ball away. Tottenham have got them pinned down at the moment. And it's Pedro Porro, centre field, floating a ball forward. Can they get this back across goal? Romero's done his best with it, but it's cleared away by Forest. And anyway, the flag's gone up for an offside. Free kick to Forest.
Yeah, sprung couple of minutes from Tottenham Hotspur. I think just the height of the ball there as it drifted towards that far post. It was flicked backwards, looped up off of a Forest defender from the long throw-in that Spurs launched into the box from Danso from the right. And Richarlison, he's not that tall, he couldn't jump that high. It almost caught the joist of the crossbar and the post, didn't it? And Forest were just able to clear to safety.
Now, Bradley, earlier in the day when we were discussing the team news, it very much looked like they were going to be playing the three centre-halves, Tottenham, but the more I look at it, the more it looks like Van der Ven's playing left-back, and Porro's actually ahead of Spence down the right in a kind of four-man midfield with Tell out on the left-hand side, and Richarlison and Solanke as a two-man front line. It's the old 4-4-2.
Yes, it is. Yeah, Porro is definitely playing on that right side. And out of possession for Spurs are in a 4-4-2 shape, but they've gone long here. Forest. It's a great ball to Iga Jesus.
He lays it off to Hudson-Odoi. Spence tries to close him down, comes back to Anderson. Anderson swings it out to the right to Hutchinson. Hutchinson chesting it down despite the cries for handball from the crowd. Hutchinson onto that left foot of his, and he shoots, saved at the near post by Vicario.
Yeah, good switch of play, nice 1v1 quality. Didn't quite have the whip of venom on the effort, just as he dropped his shoulder and coming to the right corner of the penalty box with his trusty left foot. But there's still a threat. Forest have got these individuals, Andy, haven't they, with quality that can make a difference, and the longer that they stay in the game, they'll take encouragement from that if the scoreline is on their side.
Marco Silva, when they played Fulham played Forest last weekend, said before the match that he felt Elliot Anderson was possibly the best player in his position in the whole of the league. which is quite amazing praise when, given the season Forest have had. But just watching him in person, Bradley, just makes it look easy at times.
No, he's really accomplished, isn't he, for one so young.
He doesn't mind mixing it either, does he?
With and without the ball. Key player for Thomas Tuchel in the summer. He'll want him fit and firing.
Came through the Wallsend Boys Club, which has produced so many good footballers in the northeast. The Scotland Youth International before becoming an important England player for the under-21s, won the Euros in 2025 and now very much part of the senior setup as the ball is cleared away by Milenkovic out of the touch. It'll be a throw-in on that right-hand side for Forest because it came off Richarlison last, and it'll be Ola Aina to take the throw-in short to Sangare. Good tackle coming in for Solanke, and then Tell will try his pace for size on Ola Aina and had to skip past.
He's blocked a little bit. Good speed. The ball got away from Tell upon interception down the left-hand side as he was going towards the corner flag and the south stand. But Aina on the cover. Another throw here. Spurs are looking quite strong. Started the game, I think, with some confidence and belief.
Yeah, it definitely feels different from what we've seen over most of the winter. Still no league win since that victory at Selhurst Park last year when Archie Gray scored the only goal of the game. Long throw into the box. Solanke tries to get something on it. It's cleared away by Forest. Pedro Porro hooks it back into the penalty area. Sarr! Is that a foul there? No, says the referee. Sarr's continued, tries to get a shot in, blocked, and then Hudson-Odoi clears it miles up into the air. That's almost gone as high as the top tier, the top seat in the top tier. That went so high. Back down to earth now, and Archie Gray has got his foot on the ball, plays it down the left-hand side. Look at Tell. One thought in his mind is to race forward with the ball, gives it to Solanke. Now back at his feet, Tell breaking into the penalty area again. Tackled by Omari Hutchinson. What a battle this is. Archie Gray's come flying in there, and the referee might...
Oh, it's not a foul.
Another look at that.
It's an honest challenge by both Sangare and Archie Gray, and I think they've whacked one another's shins there from the ball that sort of broke out of the penalty box. Tell was trying to take a couple of players on. I think he's got that decision wrong.
Well, I'm relieved to hear your call on that, Bradley, because I was nervous for a moment that Gray had maybe gone in just with the stud shot.
No contact on Sarr. The Spurs crowd wanted a penalty off of Romero's flick on. He just sort of lost his balance and stumbled over it. Good decision, that one.
Yeah, Sarr was breaking across the box. From a certain angle, it looked like it could well be a penalty, but the referee was so close and was absolutely certain that Ola Aina had not got any contact there. Archie Gray's really hurt himself flying into that challenge.
Yeah, this I think is a bruise, a contact injury. Like the modern players now, they wear this biscuit-size shin pads, don't they? And they don't protect the whole of that shin bone.
They wouldn't wear those if they'd been playing in the 70s.
No, not back in the day.
Yeah, those old shin pads.
Do you imagine wearing those pads against Billy Bremner, Chopper Harris, Dave Mackay?
Yeah, brave or foolish, I would say.
Good luck.
Free kick to Forest, right on the edge of the box, which Spurs aren't really contesting. Gray's gone back into the midfield area. Hopefully he'll be able to run that off, as they say. One of the few in the Spurs squad that has really emerged with credit from this difficult run, Archie Gray.
It looks as if he's struggling a little bit, Andy, doesn't he? Still so. Limping, moving rather gingerly.
Ball is floated forward beyond Spence. Well, I wondered about Palhinha not being in the team. Obviously, he had that nasty clash of heads with
Romero. He took a little bit longer, hasn't he, with the Romero head clash and concussion protocol, but he is on the bench, so he can be considered. Bergvall as well, Gallagher.
The other thing is, Bradley, that
options.
Why I wondered about no Palhinha is because you get great legs in there with Gray and Sarr in this 4-4-2, don't you?
Yeah, That partnership has certainly sort of come together quite nicely, actually, and his performance was outstanding, wasn't it, here midweek? Archie Gray probably arguably his best in a Spurs shirt for one so young.
Ball out to the right for Hutchinson to try and get to. The winger born in Redhill is breaking forward down the right hand side, another who won those under 21 Euros in 2025 under the captaincy of James McAtee, who's on the bench for Forest. Came through at Man City. Nico Williams trying to get that beyond Danso. Danso stands his ground, gives it to Romero. Romero calmly plays it out to the right to Spence. Gray to Pedro Porro. He's tried a little bit of trickery there, which has come off. He had two players on him. Anderson frustrated with that because he was really trying to keep the pressure on, win that ball back right on the edge of the penalty area, but Pedro Porro has been fouled. Free kick to Spurs.
Yeah, he just rode the challenge pretty well there, the Spaniard. Anderson sensed that Nottingham Forest could press the ball quite aggressively, but he did well. He took it under duress and contact, drew the foul. Vicario will restart the game with his free kick.
Vicario preparing to send this upfield then. So he is able to take this one, and he's sent it an awfully long way, so can't be too bad. It's Tell plays it out to the left to Van der Ven. Van der Ven to the byline. Good cross. Solanke was there, but it's cleared away by Milenkovic. Another good attack from Spurs. Van der Ven, we've seen him on a few
I don't know if this is going to be checked. He just sped forward, didn't he, on the overlap. He knocked it past Aina and crossed. He was pushed a little bit to take him off balance.
I don't think it's enough though, is it?
He still managed to get the cross into the near post. The referee again, maybe he was asked for it to be checked, but he's having none of it. Spurs throw. He might have rolled his ankle though as he's gone off the edge of the pitch and down the runway. Yeah,
he's hobbling a bit now as well as he comes back to take his place in the 6-yard box for a long throw from Danso. Spurs 0, Forest 0, 25 minutes gone. It's 1-0 to Villa in the other 2:15 kickoff against West Ham, headed away by Forest as the long throw comes in. Sangare tries to nod it clear again. It's flicked on by Romero. Then up in the air from Romero looking for Solanke.
Oh, Spurs to stretch.
Anderson.
He's missed the pass.
Couldn't get it to Igor Jesus, and Archie Gray saved today.
Wow, if Hutchinson just would have hooked it clear, Igor Jesus would have had a foot race with Sarr. 1v1. Spurs overcommitted. That was a big miss for Nottingham Forest.
Really didn't take that chance. If he'd been more aware there, Hutchinson just played the pass. Even if it was a speculative one, they could have been in. Instead, he just tried to take the one touch before deciding what to do, and that was what allowed Archie Gray to get in there and win the ball back. He seems to have run it off to a certain extent, his injury now, Archie Gray. That's forward well beyond Solanke, dealt with by Murillo at the back. Now Anderson trying to get away from Richarlison, plays it in front of Sangare. Romero nipping him with the tackle. Richarlison's been fouled by Anderson, and it's a free kick to Spurs. I mean, he's relishing that battle in the midfield, isn't he, Anderson?
Yeah, he certainly is.
Of everything.
And he sort of drops second ball. He's tenacious. He wants a pounce. He goes in wholehearted. Spurs have got to be a little bit careful. At times, they've been a bit forceful and played from back to front, and I know that worked. Certainly second half at Anfield with Richarlison and Moani really sort of going up against the defenders and a presence, but they're strong, aren't they? Murillo and Milenkovic in the air. They're powerful. They'll take that on. They'll absorb that pressure. I think Spurs can still play a little bit more through Archie Gray and some shorter passes and work it into that final third, maybe with a little bit more quality.
I'm always surprised when I see where they are in the table, when you look at how solid this 11 looks for Forest, and how even under Sean Dyche, after their bad start, they just weren't able to get more points out of the games that he was in charge, given that this team is set up to play.
Well, it was Nuno's strength, wasn't it? When he was in charge, they could absorb and defend their own penalty box, especially with those two brute defenders, quite brilliantly, and really frustrate. And you really had to find amazing quality to sort of, penetrate that. And so far, they're just about withstanding it. But Spurs keep punching away here. Yeah, it's a much better performance from Spurs than the home fans will have seen
on many occasions over the last 18 months. But Forest sticking it out at the moment. Spence shows a bit too much of that to Anderson, but then gets a second bite of the cherry. And that's a great pass to Richarlison. He's into the box. Solanke's arriving. Oh, it's just past the outstretched foot of Solanke. He whipped it across in between goalkeeper and defenders, and Solanke was just inches away from turning that in. It was slightly reminiscent of Euro 96, and Gascoigne just desperately stretching for it. He couldn't get the touch.
Well, it would have been checked. The assistant actually flagged for offside. So the restart for the Nottingham Forest goalkeeper tells he's going to be that. But the cross was hard and low. Solanke tried to get across the line of it. It was flashed into that 6-yard box from Richarlison from the right. And the former Chelsea-Liverpool striker just missed that all-important contact to put Spurs in front.
Could have been absolutely huge, that. Solanke just couldn't get to it. Pedro Porro finds Archie Gray. Great pass to Richarlison. He tries to help it onto Pedro Porro. Then Gray tries to send an early pass out towards Tell on the left. Ola Aina is there to head it back to his goalkeeper, Mats Sells. And it remains Tottenham 0, Nottingham Forest 0 as we approach half an hour gone. The Belgian goalkeeper, Sells, puts it down on the ground and then clips it forward. Romero wins that header all day long against Igor Jesus. Then Anderson arrives. Brilliant work to get away from two Tottenham players, but then Danso wins it back, leaves Anderson in a heap, and here goes Gray. He's got Porro down the right, gives it to Pedro Porro. Can he whip across in? It's caught Nico Williams amidships. He's down. He'll need a bit of time.
Yeah, good defending.
It's gone behind.
But it's all Spurs. The crowd have most definitely, the precursor for this important game this afternoon, have played their part, and the Tottenham players have fed off those fumes. They've really gone for it, but they need to score. Half hour already on the clock. They have been for 10 minutes, really on top, and the more dangerous threatening side, but they need to get that breakthrough with the strong momentum that they've now built and have.
So Nico Williams takes some time, as you would, and it's going to be a corner to Spurs, which Tell will come across to take. Half an hour on the clock. You're listening to Total Sport live on BBC Radio London. Tottenham 0, Forest 0 in this massive game in the Premier League, as Tell sends the corner towards the back post. It's Forest getting a flick on it, comes to Richarlison, tries to send it back across goal. It's taken another deflection, and it'll be another corner to Spurs. They're building up these corners.
Yeah, again, he drifted away from the goal back post. Richarlison, his left foot half volley when it found him from Tell's corner was blocked by Anderson, so Tell now will go out to the opposite side. They're creaking here, aren't they, Nottingham Forest? They're getting deeper and deeper. There's so many players inside that 6-yard box.
Can Tottenham capitalise? Corner from the left. Tell floats it really high. I'm not sure that was how it was designed. Richarlison tries to keep it alive, but it'll be Forest to try and break out now down the left-hand side. Anderson's ball forward, blocked by Porro, and it's out for a throw in to Forest on their left-hand side, and it will be Nico Williams, the former Liverpool defender, to come forward to take it. Igor Tudor has been out there in his technical area for most of the proceedings so far, in a long jacket and all in black. Sarr playing that out to Van de Ven on the left. He crosses the halfway line, and listen to the surge of noise as he brings the ball forward. A lot of these fans will have been here for the Copenhagen game. Great cross, Richarlison arriving. Just too much whip on that for him to get on the end of it before it crosses the goal line and out for a goal kick.
Well, they're building, aren't they? The crosses, they're raining in from the box, either hard or low, or a swinging in-swinger there from Tell from Spurs' left. Just missing ever so slightly a Spurs player coming in and making that crucial clinical touch and finish to give him a goal.
Well, Spurs will be very, very energised by what they've seen so far. They've been the better fit side, but haven't got the goal to show for it yet. Solanke coming very close. And he's racing across to the left touchline now, trying to get away from Omari Hutchinson. Plays it in front of Tell. Tell now running at Milenkovic. He's into the box. Milenkovic has tried to see him out. Tell, I think, just ran that over the goal line. Referee is pointing.
It was contact. He was really stretched, the long-legged Milenkovic. Real speed, 1v1 from Tell. He stayed on his feet, he was ever so honest. And as his foot rolled, his left foot cross, lost count of the corners. Tottenham are massively on top, Andy, aren't they?
They've got to make it count. The crowd desperate for them to put this in from this corner. Tell again, the delivery comes towards the near post. It's headed behind again by Forest. It was Igor Jesus who managed to smuggle that behind, but it'll be another corner. And the drumbeat ringing out from the Spurs faithful. Arm in the air from Tell. Here comes another one. It's headed away by Milenkovic. Just seemed to be behind many of the players who were in there on the goal line, really, that one. Tell has the chance again to run at the Forest defence, pulls it back for Spence. Spence now clips in across. It's flicked up off ahead again. It's Murillo who's put it behind. Another corner to Spurs.
They've had to do some defending here, haven't they? The aerial challenge is extraordinary. But they're hanging in there, Nottingham Forest, somehow. Gibbs White trying to stir his team to say, come on, we've got to stand firm, because we're bang under pressure here.
What can Tell produce from this corner from the right-hand side? He's just waiting, hands on hips, for the positioning to be just right. Everyone seems to be ready. Now finally Tell does put his right arm in the air. Here it comes. Tell's delivery headed away again. It's not quite asked enough, these corners so far. They've not been that bad, the deliveries, but for where the players are attacking, it doesn't seem to be hitting the right point. Spence looking to try and send another ball into the box, but gives it to Pedro Porro instead. Back to the halfway line goes Spurs. 7 corners already for Spurs to none from Forest. Ball is floated up towards Romero, headed away at the back by Milenkovic. Sarr was arriving, but Sangare just got there before him. Sends it up the touchline, and Archie Gray will play that back to his goalkeeper, and we can go to Villa Park. Latest from Aston Villa against West Ham, Ross Heaton.
West Ham still trailing by 1-0, but it should be more for Villa. Mavropanos cleared brilliantly off the line from Morgan Rogers, point-blank range. Villa also saw a penalty overturned on VAR. Mavropanos cleanly took the ball off Watkins before following through. Still Aston Villa 1, West Ham 0.
Solanke brought down in the centre circle.
Yeah, Sangare, I think, touch and turn inside that centre circle, Solanke. And it's probably a yellow card, that one, because there was a bit of space when the sort of ball broke forward there for the Spurs striker.
Richarlison just outside the Forest penalty area, shrugs off Sangare. The Brazilian just pokes that down the line for Tell. Tell closed down again by Sangare. Quick feet though from Tell. The Frenchman manages to flick that back to Van der Ven, gets a round of applause for holding on to that under some pressure. Now Archie Gray, just got a swagger about him now, real confidence whenever he receives the ball. Played down the line by Pedro Porro. This is Spence. Can he deliver it here? Richarlison was looking for the volley. It was just nudged away just before he could get the contact on it. And then Van der Ven gets it to Romero. Sarr with Hutchinson at his back gets it back to the Argentinian. Solanke flicking it to Richarlison. Pedro Porro making a good dart. Murillo heads it away. Richarlison just put a tiny bit more height on that. Pedro Porro could have been in. Romero, he's missed that, and he's caught Anderson. The referee says free kick.
Yeah, Anderson felt the full force of the Argentinian there, didn't he?
I always worry, because we've seen it, haven't we, this season, those tackles that, we've had sendings off for Romero and Van der Ven, and you just don't want this game to be changed by something like that, really, Bradley.
No, not at all.
Card in those instances. Just have my heart in my mouth when I see him.
Nottingham Forest, probably as we approach 40 minutes on the clock, will be more than grateful for a stoppage and some respite in the game, because I have to commend their defending, to be perfectly honest. And Spurs have actually played fabulously well. It's been all them for a good 15 or so minutes. It's as good as I've seen them play at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for a long, long time.
Here comes Hutchinson down the right-hand side, cutting back in field. He's going to send in a left-footed cross. The former Ipswich player. It's cleared away by Danso, and then Van der Ven can't get it away down the left-hand side, and it's out in the touch off Hutchinson for a throw-in to Spurs. 12 games since Tottenham's last Premier League win, in the Premier League that is, but Forest, they haven't won in the league since Brentford away on the 25th of January, so a long time for them as well. 2 wins in the league in this calendar year for them, because they also won at West Ham on January the 6th, and I was there for that one. It was a night where you felt that West Ham might be doomed, because they were 9 points adrift at that point, but they've rallied, haven't they, Bradley?
Yeah, very much so.
I think it's only 2 defeats in 9 in the league for West Ham, as Pedro Porro tries to play that through towards Spence. They are trailing at the moment, though, West Ham at Villa, as Solanke brings the ball down midway inside the Forest half. I think the crowd will certainly be warmed by how Spurs have approached this today. They've really looked up for it, and it's just been down to some very solid defending from Forest, as Bradley says, that have kept Spurs at bay, really. As Danso has it. Out to Spence on the right-hand side. Spurs lost 3-0 to Forest at the City Ground in December. Hudson-Odoi scored twice, Sangare got the other. They also lost both games against Nottingham Forest last season, having won the 6 games before those 3. But it's time in Tottenham fans' minds to redress the balance, get back on top against Forest, who of course were the opponents back in that cup final in '91. Bradley,
yeah,
famous game for Spurs fans.
Terry Venables manager
Against Brian Clough. Ball clipped forward. Was Paul Allen playing that day?
He certainly was, yes. Yeah.
And you saw him earlier today, didn't you, Brad?
I did, yeah, he's here in his ambassador capacity.
Archie Gray on the ball, playing that through to Richarlison. He's just trying to get away from Murillo. Gray, good tackle, poking it through to Solanke. Back it comes to Gray, dribbling away from Anderson. Good tackle coming in from the Forest midfielder. It's a great battle between those two. Now Danso's really going to have to stretch, because Gibbs-White is breaking away. Gibbs-White cutting across Spence. He's been caught. It's a free kick. He's such a clever player, Gibbs-White.
Yeah, they needed that. Nottingham Forest, not really away to our left-hand side. Have had too many attacking forays into the Tottenham Hotspur half, but again, you know, the effort, the challenge, Gray and Anderson, that's been an amazing watch across this first half. Both those young players full at it.
The referee spots up the free kick with the spray. It's a one-man wall for Spurs. That was a classic sort of, as you say, what Forest needed there. You know, he's really lifted the pressure somewhat, Gibbs-White, by winning that free kick. And now Anderson will send it up the line. Hutchinson's made a dart towards the corner flag. He's just about kept it in, gets it back to Anderson as well. Anderson will now send in the cross. It's flicked up in the air by Van der Ven. Murillo will go back to the halfway line to Aina. Southwark-born defender, floats that forward. It's flicked on by Milenkovic. Igor Jesus trying to turn that round the corner for Hutchinson. He's covered by Gray and Richarlison, and Gray and Richarlison do the job, winning possession back. Sarr back to Gray again. Romero drilling it through the middle towards Pedro Porro. He's now floated a wonderful pass to Richarlison. Can he keep that in on the touchline? What a shame. It was a wonderfully creative pass from Pedro Porro.
Yeah, playing out from defence, zigzag through the pitch.
I quite
a shame
like
on that
him
left.
in midfield, Pedro Porro, because of his passing range.
His quality there out to Richarlison was good, and he needed maybe to take the first touch out of the air rather than letting it bounce, the former Everton striker, and it just drifted out of play. But interestingly here, Spurs have punched an awful lot. They've had a flurry of punches for 20 minutes, and Forest have withstood that. Does it need maybe a change of attacking approach for Igor Tudor and his coaching staff? at half-time or into the second half. I'm thinking Xavi Simons, potentially, maybe Gallagher, maybe Bergvall, just something a little bit different for Spurs, because, you know, they've tried absolutely everything with the personnel that he's used so far.
It felt like a really big game for Simons and in the midweek against Atletico Madrid. He's obviously struggled without many other players to sort of share that creative burden, really. It's a lot there's been a lot riding on his shoulders this season, but especially with that huge price tag of over 50 million. Gibbs White on the attack down the left. It's come off Gray. That will be a corner to Forest.
Yeah, he did well there, Gibbs White. Looked as if he'd lost his balance towards the byline. Gray tracked, weaker left foot cross, and it sort of hit the former Leeds player, and Forest, which has been quite scarce across this half, have earned themselves a corner which Williams will take.
So Williams spotting this on the edge of the quadrant. No win for Pereira since he took over in the league. Winless from 4, but got his second win against Midtjylland, if you can count it. There was a win on the night, and it took them through on penalties. As the ball comes in from Nico Williams, headed away to the edge of the box. Anderson gets it back forward, hooks goalwards, and Vicario's had to just flick that over the bar as he was furiously backpedaling. He's just launched up a right hand and just pushed it over the bar. It's another corner.
Yeah, good save. He adapted very well there, the Italian, but Anderson did well. He got to the bouncing ball, second ball edge of the box in front of Porro. He headed it back in, and he got Jesus just sort of fly hacked a volley. It was looping towards the top left-hand corner. Good save from the Spurs keeper, Vicario.
Approaching stoppage time at the end of the first half. It's a corner to the back post and headed in by Igor Jesus, and Forest have scored the opener in this huge game in the relegation battle. Tottenham, who've been on top for much of the proceedings, concede right at the end of the first half. As we enter stoppage time, it's Tottenham 0, Nottingham Forest 1.
Yeah, set plays so fashionable in the Premier League this season. And Spurs got caught out, a lapse in concentration. Great jump, great header back across goal. Completely against the run of play, really. Nottingham Forest have the goal that's put them in front on the cusp of half-time.
Deep corner towards the back post. It's a brilliant header. He's just planted it in the corner.
There was jostling, there was blocking, but importantly the goal scorer kept his eye on it, and he used the curl and the pace of the ball just to guide and head it across into that left-hand top corner. And it's the Nottingham Forest fans in that lower tier, diagonally away to us, that you can hear celebrating, because they're in front in this vital Premier League fixture.
13th of the season for Igor Jesus, but just a third in the Premier League for him. They have not been free scoring, but he's got the only goal of the game so far. Can Tottenham try and hit back just before the break? Pedro Porro battling for it, then Spence whips that to Christian Romero. Romero to Pedro Porro. Anderson getting back at him. It's going to come for Sarr. Good block, and Forest should be able to clear it. How many times have they got those blocks in as well, just around the edge of the penalty area, Forest today? Romero, two closing him down, but he gets it through to Pedro Porro. Now back to Sarr. It's Pedro Porro again, clipping it towards the back post. Richarlison's left it for Tell. He can't allow that to run, can it? He's kept it in somehow. And Tell, tackled by Ola Aina. Comes to Sarr. Tell again, encouraged to shoot. He's curled it off the crossbar. Romero tries to head it goalwards. Richarlison has a go. Solanke, referee blows his whistle and says free kick to Forest. They were thinking he might give a penalty. There's players strewn over the pitch.
There's definite contact. Whether Romero's used that, great effort from Tell from outside the box. Sells was beaten, hits the top left-hand part of the crossbar. It bounced up. Was he pushed? Maybe he went down a bit easy.
He's kind of planted his feet there, Romero, thinking there's bound to be contact.
Oh, it's a touch. It's a fine save.
Yeah,
amazing from Sells.
It's fingertip stuff, really. And then Romero.
Yeah, it was Williams who sort of jumped over the back of Romero. Whether there's going to be any check, Spurs captain taking his time. Spurs players are asking Michael Oliver, the referee. It's actually for a missed-time volley by Richarlison on Sangeri. He miskicked the ball.
Well, they are going to check it, VAR. So this is going to make it a dramatic end to this first half.
Yeah, I don't know.
It sounds like the check's over.
He's saying Williams headed it on the replay over the shoulder of Romero there on that challenge of the bouncing ball.
Because it was looping, it felt like Romero wasn't going to be able to get enough power into it to really trouble Sells, so he was kind of waiting for the contact, and then he was going to hope that it was maybe enough to get a penalty. This is probably going to be half-time here as the ball is thumped forward from Sells, headed away by Danso. Murillo just sends it straight down the middle, way beyond Gibbs-White, and there is the half-time whistle. And there are some boos here, which I'm slightly surprised at, because that has been a great effort in the first half from Spurs from my point of view, but they've been caught out from the set piece. It was 2 corners in quick succession, the only corners that Forest had in the half, where Spurs had 7, and the second one played to the back post and headed straight back across the goalkeeper Vicario into the corner by Igor Jesus. I think the boos might be for the officials right, more than the players on reflection. But at the break here at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, it is Tottenham 0, Nottingham Forest 1.
Total Sport Live.
BBC Radio London.
Well, there we go. It's not been the first half that we've necessarily wanted or expected at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium or at Villa Park, bringing in Bradley Allen in a moment or two. But let's go to Villa Park, where Ross Heaton can tell us the first half story of West Ham United's trip to the Midlands. And again, it's not good news, Ross.
It is an Aston Villa 1, West Ham 0, and the Irons firmly second best. They're lucky not to be further behind in this game. The deadlock was broken from a cute training ground free kick. Cash went square to John McGinn, and the Scot curled it beautifully into the bottom corner from the edge of the D. We saw a VAR review for a penalty. They were initially awarded a penalty, Villa, when a challenge from Mavropanos came in on Ollie Watkins, but after VAR review, Paul Tierney clearly saw that it was taken cleanly, and Mavropanos has been right at the heart of all of the defensive action. He's been man-mountain today so far for West Ham. He cleared one brilliantly off the line after a point-blank effort from Morgan Rogers. It should be much more than this. They're lucky not to be out of sight now. It's Aston Villa 1 at West Ham 0 at the break.
Thank you very much indeed. Lee Turnbull alongside you. Lee and Bradley Allen's been watching that first half of Spurs. Both teams, both Spurs and West Ham United, are behind at the break. Bradley, in your perspective, I'll go to Lee in a second. Spurs unfortunate to be behind, Bradders.
Yeah, I think Spurs have shown and given a really passionate performance, and they've bombarded, probably from 10 minutes in, the Nottingham Forest penalty box with crosses, untold amount of corner kicks. But to be fair, we sometimes don't praise enough the art of penalty box defending, and Nottingham Forest to a man have done that ever so well. They've been really strong in aerial duels, they've headed away, they've made blocks, they've cleared their lines when Spurs were undoubtedly on top here and really causing Nottingham Forest a lot of problems. And then at the other end, a lapse in concentration, a set play itself for Nottingham Forest, Inigo Jesus calm header back across goal when he was unmarked has broken the deadlock completely against the run of play. So Phil now into this second half. Wow, the Spurs fans have got to play their part, because Tottenham put an awful lot into that first half performance and nothing to show for it. The pressure is now sincerely on.
Two managers with a lot to do in this 15 minutes. Lee, what's Nuno going to be doing? What adjustments do you think he can make? Because it's not a game they have to get anything out of, because they're going to still be there or thereabouts, and maybe this is a Brucey bonus for them, but he doesn't want to lose this one if he can.
No, and you're right, it is a Brucey bonus, but you want to try and win every game when you're getting towards the business end of the season. Villa played Thursday night, but they look a lot sharper, the quality's better. West Ham have been disappointing, if I'm honest. Nuno have been delighted to get them in at just 1-0. The penalty claim, VAR came in and ruled it out, but I thought that it wasn't a penalty. Mavropanos, who's been superb for West Ham by far, their outstanding performer, great tackle on Ollie Watkins, but just before that they conceded a goal with a wonderful free kick. Ball was played short from Cash to Sancho, rolled across to John McGinn, sticks it in the bottom corner, and you're thinking the floodgate's going to open, Phil. They've only had one real effort on goal, and again Jared Bowen's doing more work defensively than he is offensively. I think because the shape had to change as well because of an injury to Todibo in the warm-up, Freddie Potts has come in and the shape's changed from a 3-4-2-1 to a 4-3-3, and I think that's probably thrown the lads a little bit, because when you're prepping for a game and you're doing all your analysis, it's obviously built on your own formation as well, and looking at how to expose the opposition. So that's thrown the hammers as well, Phil, but if they get a goal back, fantastic, and I would hang on for a draw and defend resiliently to try and take something away from Villa Park. The way it's going at the moment, Aston Villa are comfortable, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I don't know if Bradley's still there when he's gone off for a cup of tea. Bradley at Spurs.
Yeah, still here, Phil.
What does Igor, as you say, I mean, there's a lot of effort being put into that first half for Tottenham Hotspur. What can he do in the second half?
Well, there's options, the exertions of the midweek win, the first one for Igor Tudor, for some of these players that are in the starting 11, maybe Xavi Simons, who's on the score sheet that night, could come off the bench, Bergvall, Gallagher, Moani, so from midfield and attack, he might consider that. I think he'll give it 10-15 minutes. They'll keep going, they'll keep sort of bombarding this Nottingham Forest goal, but they've got to find a little bit of craft and guile, I think, in this game. Something a little bit different, a little bit of skill and magic from someone who's going to be the man here to bring Spurs back into this game. All important.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, go and get yourself rested for the second half. Tottenham Hotspur on 94.9 FM, BBC Sounds as well, against Nottingham Forest, trailing by a goal to nil, and West Ham United on DAB Digital Radio and the BBC Sport website, likewise 1-0 down at Aston Villa. We are just over an hour and a quarter away from the first domestic silverware, competitively I suppose, that you can compete for in the men's game. I know the Community Shield, but you have to win something to be in that, so it doesn't really count. It's the League Cup final. It's the top two in the Premier League going head to head. Arsenal taking on Manchester City. Xavi Bird and Harry Symeou are biting their fingernails at Wembley. Afternoon to the pair of you.
Afternoon. Good afternoon, Phil.
We're going to get the team news fairly shortly here on BBC Radio London. We've discussed this until the cows come home. I'm at the moment, I find myself giving counselling to Spurs fans. Today, I have been counselling someone who's not even a fan of even these two clubs, but has connections to West Ham and Spurs through family. Now you two. I mean, I'm exhausted, to be honest. Come on, just Arsenal, make it simple. Can they win this easily so everyone's happy?
I don't think they are ever going to do anything easily, okay, Phil. I think this is just the Arsenal way, so I'm expecting to bite what remains of my fingernails between now and sort of 6:30 p.m. And there's some reports flying around about the team news. We haven't got the team news just yet, so we can't confirm anything, but it looks like, according to Sami Mokbel of the BBC, that Eberechi Eze is not available for Arsenal, which is a big blow, given that he's really kind of picked up form of late and been in a wonderful place in terms of goal scoring and creating, and I think his all-round midfield game in Arsenal colours has really improved as well. So that's disappointing if that's true, and we'll know in a few minutes' time. But in terms of the game in general, I just think for Arsenal, you've got to stay calm, you've got to stay grounded. If Arsenal win this today, it could spark a chain reaction that means that they go on and they have an incredible season, and it could start a little bit of a dynasty at Arsenal. But at the same time, if they don't win this today, that doesn't mean that the world's crumbling down around them. And I think we need to keep a perspective on Arsenal and where they're at, generally speaking, which is not easy to do after an emotive game like today's is bound to be.
No, I mean, for me, Arsenal are the team I think can win this game, and I think we've talked about this again quite frequently about the possibility that winning this and what it does for what you then achieve as a group in the Premier League as well. Psychologically, it strikes a blow for Arsenal against Manchester City, who are their nearest rivals when it comes to the Premier League.
Yeah, I think obviously psychologically they've already got the advantage in that they're 9 points clear in the Premier League. Manchester City have just gone out of Europe. They're dropping off in the league as well. And if they were to lose this game, you sort of feel like that would give Arsenal an even greater advantage, because they've obviously they've not won a trophy in 6 years, Phil. Not only would this isn't just about the Premier League, of course, but that is ultimately what Arsenal fans wanted to win at the beginning of the season. They've not won a trophy for 6 years, though, a major trophy. And doing this really, really early on in the season, I think, really kind of calms a bit of nerves, because it has been a nervy place, the Emirates Stadium, in the back end of March to May in years gone by. And if they already have a trophy underneath their belt, they'll think about it. They'll go, look, we're 9 points clear at the top of the league. We're in the Champions League quarterfinals. We've got a favourable draw in that as well. We've got an FA Cup quarterfinals to look forward to as well. That's against lower league opposition. So it could all come incredibly rosy. You never know. But it is going to be interesting what sort of game we get. And Harry obviously mentioned, if they lose the game, it's not the end of the world. I think the manner of the loss, if they were to lose on penalties or something like that, I don't think this would really have an impact. But if they were to lose heavily, might be an issue.
Isn't it amazing, though, that I don't know about you, I've not detected, a few years ago, everyone was talking about City are going to do the quadruple. City will do the quadruple, right? I've not noticed that as much about Arsenal, but Arsenal could do the quadruple.
Yeah, they could. They actually could. It's not impossible, but I just think it is kind of dangerous to get caught into that trap of thinking, let's go and win it all. Actually, you got to do it one by one. You got to achieve things one step at a time. And Phil, we've just got the team news as well. There's a number of changes. Kepa Arrizabalaga is in goal ahead of David Raya.
Okay,
Ben White is playing at right back instead of Jurien Timber, who isn't in the squad at all. Neither is Eberechi Eze, and neither is the captain Martin Odegaard. There was a hope that he would be back in the picture as well. So I'll take you through the 11 in full. It's Kepa in goal, White, Saliba, Gabriel and Nkapie across the back. He's playing at left back instead of Ricardo Calafiori. And then it's Rice, Zubimendi, and it looks like Kai Havertz is going to play in that 10 position with Saka right, Trossard left and Victor Gyökeres through the middle. And there's a place on the bench for Max Dowman. Can you imagine that Max Dowman
coming off the bench? So we've seen him do it recently. I mean, we've just got the City team news in as well. James Trafford is going to start in goal. There were conversations as to would both managers play their second choice goalkeepers. They've both done so today. Matheus Nunes at right back, Husanov, Ake and O'Reilly complete the back four for them, which of course we were talking about. Ruben Diaz isn't available for Manchester City, not in the squad at all. Rodri, Bernardo Silva are the central midfield pairing alongside Ryan Cherki. Semenyo and Doku are the wide players, with Erling Haaland up front, Phil.
Obviously. Back with you two as we build up to kick-off as well on that one after 4 o'clock. We'll be back with our two commentary games in the Premier League next. It's just gone 3:15.
BBC Radio London.
How do you react when you get the phone call that you've been cast in Bridgerton?
It kind of changed my life in many ways. It opened so many doors.
The sound of London.
So who visited your school when you were growing up?
The chairman of the GLC.
The chairman of the GLC? That doesn't sound very sexy.
London Assembly.
Have I missed a story then? Like, Eddie, why are you calling me now? Is it one of those?
The thing about this story is it's one of many bridges, and
on the 94 bus that I took from Chiswick, that's how I got here. Real London.
The sound of London.
I've also put lipstick on for you two. Did you see that?
Saw you change.
Well, we saw you change. My blood pressure went through the roof.
Yeah, I didn't know where to look.
BBC Radio London.
Listen on your smart speaker and on BBC Sounds.
Total Sport Live.
BBC Radio London.
Choice of commentaries this afternoon. Two massive games at the wrong end of the Premier League table. Tottenham Hotspur are at home to Nottingham Forest and are currently losing by 1-0. That's going to be on 94.9 FM on DAB Digital Radio. West Ham United in action. It's half-time, second half approaching.
Teases up for McGinn, he shoots, and it's in! And West Ham trail. One off the training ground for Villa. And it is the Scot John McGinn who's curled it in left-footed. Aston Villa 1, West Ham 0.
Second half commentary to come then on DAB Digital Radio with Ross Heaton and Lee Turnbull at Villa Park. 94.9 FM and BBC Sounds. It's Tottenham Hotspur at home to Nottingham Forest.
Up, it's a corner to the back post and headed in by Igor Jesus, and Forest have scored the opener in this huge game in the relegation relegation battle. Tottenham, who've been on top for much of the proceedings, concede right at the end of the first half as we enter stoppage time. It's Tottenham 0, Nottingham Forest 1.
Second half commentary upcoming then. Bradley Allen alongside Andy Rowley, and 2 changes for Spurs, Andy, at the break.
Yes, we've seen Destiny Udogie warming up throughout the half-time break. Lucas Bergvall as well. They're about to be introduced. Also saw Xavi Simons going through a pretty elongated warm-up. But the first 2 changes for Spurs at half-time, we'll see Udogie and Bergvall being introduced. Archie Gray's still out there, so he will be continuing despite the fact that he got a knock in that first half. Can't see Van der Ven having emerged for the second half, so Udogie will come on at left back for Van der Ven, and then Bergvall will be coming on the right hand side of the midfield perhaps. We'll just come back to exactly who he's going to be coming on for in just a second. Let's bring in Bradley Allen, who's been watching things. I think it looks like Jed Spence might be the other one.
Yeah, I think it's a change in formation for Spurs. I think you're going to go back to a back 4. Porro, Romero, Danso, now Udogie at left full back, and as you say, Bergvall on the right in a midfield 4 with Gray, Sal, Sarr supporting Solanke and Richarlison down the middle, so a 4-4-2 for Spurs, I think.
So Bergvall has been missing for quite some time. Bradley's such a quality player. We know that Barcelona were very interested in trying to get his services when he signed for Spurs. A frustrating injury for him when he had such a breakthrough last term, and they've been waiting for the likes of him to get back, the impact he can maybe make in the run-in.
Absolutely. His energy, industry, similar with Udogie up and down that left-hand side. You know, he's had his injury troubles to the Spurs left back, but you know, can they continue the impressive Spurs intensity and energy that they brought in that first half? And they were the better team, but when they had their moments, notably from set plays and crosses into the box, they just couldn't put themselves in front, and then they come unstuck with conceding a corner themselves, which Forest took advantage of. So that's why the visitors, against the run of play, have this precious lead to take into this all-important second half Premier League fixture.
Well, as things stand in the Premier League, Forest are moving above Tottenham in the table onto 32 points, with Spurs 1 point above the relegation zone, where West Ham find themselves on 29 points. Leeds 1 clear of Forest as it stands on 33. Those are the teams in it, with Burnley and Wolves looking doomed below them. We're off and underway in the second half of this crucial encounter in the Premier League. Tottenham 0, Nottingham Forest 1. Spurs in the white shirts, blue shorts and white socks. Forest in the red shirts with white shorts and red socks, and it's Anderson playing it down the line for Hutchinson. Danso just takes a bit of a risk there with his challenge, but the referee says it's no foul, and it's going to be a goal kick to Spurs. And this is how Tottenham line up for the second half. Vicario continues in goal. It's a back 4 of Pedro Porro, Kevin Danso, Christian Romero and Destiny Udogie, who's on for Mickey van der Ven. The midfield is Bergvall out on the right hand side, Archie Gray and Pape Matar Sarr in the middle, and then Matthias Tell on the left, and then Dominic Solanke and Richarlison are the players up front. Spence with the one to make way for Bergvall. For Forest, it's Matt Sells in goal, a back 4 of Ola Aina, Nikola Milenkovic, Murillo and Nico Williams, midfield of Elliot Anderson and Ibrahim Sangare, and then Callum Hudson-Odoi, Morgan Gibbs-White and Amari Hutchinson behind the goal scorer Igor Jesus, who is up front. Tell poking a ball round the corner to Udogie. First touch for the left back as he breaks forward towards the edge of the Forest penalty area. Now Tell dribbling forward down the left, pokes it forward to Udogie. He's onside. Udogie's cross cleared away by Milenkovic at the near post, and then Anderson plays what looked like a decent ball up to Igor Jesus, but he wasn't aware of where Anderson was playing that into the space, and he shrugs his shoulders at Anderson, who's frustrated that they weren't on the same wavelength. Back comes Spurs though, out to Tell on the left hand side. I'll run you through the benches in a moment for you. The remaining players available to Tottenham anyway. Tell, tackled by Ola Aina, and it's going to be a throw-in to Spurs on their left-hand side, level with the edge of the Forest penalty area.
Yeah, Danso can take it. Already, I think, they've took it short. It's actually come back to Danso. They've worked a different throw-in.
Romero on the ball in the centre circle, gives it to Danso. Danso up the left to Udogi, the Italian. Goes back to Danso, and it's across the back.
Yeah, I think what Spurs are trying to do here, Andy, is Hutchinson's not really tracking, is he? So they've put Udogi on, tried to get 2v1s. Tell had a little bit of success against Aina. They're trying to isolate for a Chelsea fullback here and get around on that left-hand side, and good crosses from this side of the pitch into the penalty box.
The other players on the bench for Spurs: Kinski, Dragusin, Palinha, Simons, Gallagher, Souza and Kolomouani. And for Forest, Ortega, the former Man City goalkeeper, Morata, Awonyi, Ndoye, Dominguez, Yates, McAtee, Nets and Bakwa. The referee is Michael Oliver, and the ball is with Vicario, who plays it forward down the right-hand side. He's sliced that out in a touch for a throw-in to Forest. Brilliant atmosphere inside the ground today. You can just feel how much it means to both sets of fans. 3 minutes gone in the second half. It's Tottenham 0, Nottingham Forest 1. Spurs winless in 12 Premier League games in this calendar year, drawing 5, losing 7. In their top flight history, they've only ever twice had worse runs in the top flight, in 1912 and from 1934 to 1935. Have they had longer runs without winning in the top flight. That's how desperate it has become, and why a win today would have been so crucial at the moment. They just need to get back on terms if they possibly can. Romero playing it forward to Bergvall. That was an easy read for Nico Williams, who intercepts and then sets off on a long run forward. He's played it out to the left-hand side to Hudson-Odoi, who scored twice in the meeting between these sides in December. Plays it back to Sangare. Across the pitch he goes to Ola Aina. Spurs with everyone behind the ball at the moment as it comes out to Hutchinson on the right-hand side. Double step over from him, then pokes it back to Anderson. Anderson's going to whip across in here. Free header at the back post. Vicario saves from Nico Williams. How was he given the freedom there to run onto
Lovely
that
football
header?
from Nottingham Forest, arguably their best in the game. From left to right-hand side, tremendous cross, called away from goal towards the far post from Anderson. Diving header coming, good save from Vicario off the bouncing ball. Nearly a second for Nottingham Forest.
Only at Southampton, Forest had more away wins in the Premier League than at Tottenham, and they're leading here at the moment. But Solanke trying to make something happen, gets the cross in. It's cleared by Milenkovic, who's such an enormous presence at that near post.
Yeah, raking diagonal ball. He did that earlier in the game, Archie Gray. Solanke pulled off the shoulder of Aina. Left foot bouncing cross. Richarlison really should be on the move centrally to get on the delivery. Milenkovic sliced away. Another corner for Spurs. Tell to take.
Tell to take from the left-hand side. Spurs sending plenty forward. Forest taking everyone back. Tell clips it in towards the near post. Aina gets the header on it. Sarr trying to get the header back forward, but he clatters into Hutchinson, and that's
yeah, brave header off the second ball. Jumped early. Just his sense of anticipation was a fraction sharper there than Sarr, who's committed to the aerial challenge, but it is a free kick, and Nottingham Forest can take their time on this.
I mentioned their goal-scoring problems. Forest, they failed to score in 14 games in the Premier League this season, but they've got the crucial goal so far, thanks to Igor Jesus and that header just before the break.
Well, they got Chris Wood to come back fairly soon. He's been out injured, Andy. He played, I think, Friday, didn't he, in a 21s or behind closed doors game to build some match fitness. Maybe not quite ready for this particular one, but he'd be added personnel,
what
of course.
Season he had last season as well, Bradley, the New Zealander.
They've missed him.
He was excellent in that front line with Alanga and Hudson-Odoi. That's a foul on Tell near the touchline. The fans let out a roar as if to say, finally we've been given a decision, and it's a free kick to Spurs 10 yards inside their own half. Igor Tudor continuing to dish out the instructions to his goalkeeper and defenders. Imposing figure, isn't he, Igor?
Yeah, I think he's just saying to, Udogie, as much as possible when the ball is served forward, especially on this left side, can he join? Can he, get past and outside Tell?
Pedro Porro linking up with Bergvall just outside the Forest penalty area. The Swede playing that into the box. Solanke tackled by Murillo, no foul as he lies there looking forlornly at the referee. It's out to the left-hand side for Forest as they move upfield with Igor Jesus, the goal scorer. Bergvall flicks it to Romero, who's trying to hold off Sangare. He's done really well there, the Argentinian, and that's a free kick to Spurs, and it's a yellow card, and the crowd are saying about time.
The game opened up, away to our right. Nottingham Forest had a counter, and Sangare fed the goal scorer Igor Jesus, and he couldn't find Hudson-Odoi on Forest's left, and then Vicario stopped Sangare on the transition, and he was pulled back. It's a yellow card, Spurs free kick. That's lifted the crowd. The Tottenham Hotspur fans are going again here.
Free kick for Pedro Porro, just inside the Forest half. They bring everyone back again, as the Spaniard is pointing to Bergvall, saying, get out on the touchline, give me an option there. There's a huge amount of space for someone to run into if they wanted to down that right-hand side. Now Pedro Porro is going to swing the cross in. Romero gets a head on it, but it's well wide. And it's a goal kick to Forest. 53 gone. You're listening to Total Sport Live on BBC Radio London on this Sunday afternoon, which could be a crucial one for both Spurs and West Ham. It's Tottenham 0, Forest 1.
Yeah, the intent's there. Can't deny that from Tottenham Hotspur, but they keep throwing the ball in there, Andy. It might just need something a little bit different to that. They're standing firm centrally. They have these big, tall, uncompromising players whose strength is heading the ball and clearing their penalty box. Have Spurs got something else up their sleeve?
Danso plays it back to Vicario, out to Sarr. That's a dangerous pass. Igor Jesus was all over him, but the Senegalese midfielder does eventually get it to Danso. And now Romero striding forward out of defence. He's going to float a pass for Tell to try and run onto. Great first touch from Matthias Tell. Now he whips in a cross. It's beyond Solanke, headed away by Murillo. Gray is arriving, brings it down well, pokes it out towards Bergvall on the right of the penalty area. In comes the cross. Richarlison was well held by the defender. Now it comes to Tell. Pulled back towards Udogie, just outside the box. Whipped in cross is cut out by Gibbs White, who hooks it clear. The pressure continues to ratchet up.
Yeah, Spurs, on repeat here. This is exactly like for large chunks of the first half. They're the more threatening team.
Udogie to Archie Gray. Shoot is the cry from the fans. Now it's Pedro Porro to Sarr. Forest just banked up in front of the Spurs player on the ball. Now it comes out to Tell. Neat little pass off the outside of the boot to Udogie. Comes back to Tell. He's teed it up for Archie Gray. Blocked. Gray again, left-footed over the bar.
Yeah, it was better. More patient, more controlled. They dropped. They fell back in. They were getting deeper, weren't they? Nottingham Forest there, and Archie Gray. The first shot blocked, edge of the box. Rebound back out to him. Then left foot, and he just swiped it really and sliced it well wide of the goal.
As he took the touch, it looked like he just wanted that bit more time. And
yeah, just a stroke and curl it in the corner.
You just imagine getting a Simons into that kind of position, Bradley. That might be what they're looking for, as you said.
Yeah, I agree. That might be considered. There are 5 Spurs subs away to our left.
They're going to get more moments like that, aren't they, at the edge of the box? You want
it will become more desperate, won't it?
That might be a foul. No, says the referee. I thought Ole Einar had maybe fouled Solanke there, but then it's Spurs who are penalised for a foul.
He's missed a few, hasn't he, Michael Oliver? He's not been at his sharpest this afternoon, and that's to the frustration of some of the home crowd.
Let's find out what's happening in the second half of that game for West Ham and Aston Villa with Ross Heaton.
Remains Aston Villa 1, West Ham 0, but much better from the visitors since the restart. They've brought on a couple of subs, Wilson and Traore on for Castellanos and Potts, and they've gone close with a couple of efforts from set pieces. Aston Villa 1, West Ham 0.
Thanks very much, Ross. So an improvement from West Ham after conceding a number of shots in that first half. Talking of Forest, when Fulham went there in the last Premier League game, they didn't have a shot on target in the game. So Vitor Pereira's got them working pretty well defensively. Here comes another cross though from Forest, straight across the face of goal. Murillo was arriving.
What a ball.
It wasn't that far beyond him.
Hudson-Odoi on the left recycled the initial free kick and it went back to Williams, and he's curled a tremendous ball in, hasn't he? And it was maybe 2 yards in front of Murillo, who stayed up in attack.
Raking ball forward from the goalkeeper Vicario, nodded down by Forest, and Udogie has possession for Spurs under some pressure from Hutchinson. That's a dangerous ball across the pitch, which is intercepted by Anderson, the England midfielder, moving forward. Most successful passes of any midfielder in the Premier League. Anderson strokes it about with ease, always available for teammates, so comfortable on the ball. It's back to Murillo for Forest. Now Anderson again. The crowd really trying their hardest to get Spurs going in this one. Ola Aina infield to Sangare, who is on a yellow card after that foul. The referee, I think, has been careful not to try and dish out too many cards too early in this one, given the high stakes. Bergval's been fouled. Free kick to Spurs.
Oh, referee.
Pedro Porro wanted to take it quickly, but referee said not from the exact spot, so that just slows it down again.
Yeah, Gibbs White's got the ump with the ref. He felt that there was contact on him when he received the ball. You almost felt that Forest for a minute were going to have a little bit of possession and take the sting out of it, but the Tottenham fans are really charged as we approach the hour mark. They've got to play their part. They want their side to push here and get that ball forward.
Ball up in the air, Bergval challenging for it. Now Sarr trying to head it forward. Bergval shrugs off Anderson and then gets it to Richarlison. Out to the right to Pedro Porro. Whipped pass is blocked by Forest. He's played it back towards Romero. Romero up in the air looking for Tell. Comes off for Ola Aina. Then a sliding tackle from Sarr against Gibbs White. That's gone miles high again from Hutchinson. Sarr trying to get underneath it. Header was won by Anderson. Then Romero wins the loose ball. Here he goes forward, Romero. The World Cup winner, shrugging off two Forest players. He's gone down a bit of a cul-de-sac here, eventually goes down, but no foul from Sangare. And Sangare trying to bring the ball away. Bergval snapping in, can't win it back.
Romero's out of position, and off Nottingham Forest go.
Charging forward down the middle of the pitch. It's out to the left-hand side from Nico Williams. Here goes Hudson-Odoi, breaking to the edge of the penalty area. He's pulled it across to Omari Hutchinson. He's going to get a left-footed drive away. Bergval saw the danger, got the block in, and it remains 1-0 to Forest with half an hour to go.
Yeah, the Tottenham fans want their side to run up the pitch and press here and go after the ball. It's on a knife edge, this game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Any moment here, I think there's going to be a chance. It might be for Spurs to draw on level. It might be Forest to double their advantage, and maybe still 3 priceless Premier League points.
Forest won 2-1 here last April when Spurs were very much thinking about Europe. Anderson got the opener. Woods scored soon after. Richarlison got a late consolation for Spurs. It was their first win away to Tottenham since 1997, when Dean Saunders scored the only goal of the game. Romero back in position at the back, sends a pass through to Richarlison, but his ball out towards Udogie is intercepted by Hutchinson, and Forest get it back to Murillo at the back. Now Anderson out to the left-hand side. Forward comes Nico Williams across the halfway line. Crowd just quietened for a moment.
Yeah, taking another breath, aren't they? You could feel the nerves, Andy, can't you? The pressure.
It really is palpable as Gibbs White is coming forward with the ball, plays it out to the left to Hudson-Odoi, is always an option, hugging the touchline. He's made a brilliant dart. There gets a shove. It's Gibbs White, and it's in. Gibbs White sends it under the keeper. Vicario. Hudson-Odoi with a brilliant dash to the byline. He got a little shove from Pedro Porro, pulled it back into the danger zone, and there was Gibbs White, who Spurs were desperate to sign last summer, who side puts it in off the underside of the goalkeeper, and Forest double their lead. 61 gone, Tottenham 0, Forest 2.
Well, we called that only moments ago. It was either going to be at either end. And then Nottingham Forest, you have to give them credit. They found some quality, 1v1 brilliance, speed, balance. Hudson-Odoi to the byline, but the pick out was great, Andy, wasn't it? The cut back, and Gibbs-White, such an important focal point of this team, was there to sort of guide the ball on the volley. Vicario got something on it, but he's gone underneath the Spurs keeper, and that's a massive goal, and Nottingham Forest now have a 2-0 lead.
It was such a good surge of pace as well from Hudson-Odoi. He just suddenly turned on the motors, and Pedro Porro, all he could do was just give him a little nudge in the back.
There was a dropper of the shoulder, but a burst of speed, but quality on the cross.
And Gibbs-White's had a quiet game.
He has. He's not really been too influential, has he, or contributed, but he has come up with a crucial goal there.
I don't know where he is, but I bet you their Forest owner was having a quiet punch of the air. Not that quiet, probably, when Gibbs-White put that in, given that protracted transfer saga last summer. Tell with the throw-in.
Free kick for Spurs, handball, Aina.
Danso.
What do Spurs do here? Do you change it again? Do they take risks?
Well,
they've just got their pocket picked there, really, haven't they, Andy?
Again, it feels this is football for you, isn't it? You can be on top in matches and not get what you deserve sometimes, and Forest have defended very well and taken their opportunities, and that is the story of the game so far. But Tottenham, if they can get one back, will feel that there's goals in this for them, because they've been on top for much of the game in the main, but without really forcing the goalkeeper to make brilliant saves. Sells has made that one that he tipped onto the bar at the end of the first half. It really needs something to happen, Spurs, to give them the belief to get back into this game now. As Tell turns in the middle of the pitch. It's out to Udogie on the left. Udogie moving across the pitch, gets it to Bergvall. Centre field, Bergvall sweeping it out to the right, almost intercepted. Now it comes from Pedro Porro. Sarr was arriving, but he's headed that.
Milenkovic, brilliant again.
Got to it.
Outstanding heading from him. Sarr just gambled, good cross. Is that Tell injured on the left? Whether this is a muscular soft tissue injury, he's taking his time to get up. He might have to come off, whether he's pulled a muscle here. That's a worry.
Well, he's just taking his time, but looks like they might have to change him. Pedro Porro was already going to take the corner after Tell's taken most of them so far today. Goodness me, there was such high hopes coming here today that that Tottenham rather would maybe just be able to put a bit of daylight between themselves and Forest, and possibly West Ham as well. At the moment, it'll be Forest who will be thinking they've given themselves a bit of a gap.
Yeah, Simmons, Moani, they're being readied.
This is not one of those games, Bradley, where we've seen many occasions in the last 18 months at Tottenham where you think there's not much chance of a comeback in this one. I still feel the way Tottenham have played that there is a chance still to get back into it.
Yeah, it would be something, wouldn't it? And it could be transformative to the remainder of the season, but Andy, they've got to go somewhere, haven't they, with the time remaining?
Especially the way Forest defended.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what you have to commend. They've been outstanding in that regard.
Corner for Spurs, right in front of the away fans. Simons and Kolo Muani are waiting to
be introduced. Tell's off.
Tell's going off.
Michael Oliver, is he going to allow the change, because Spurs are a player down? It's going to be another one. It's Richarlison. So Muani and Simmons on. Richarlison is going to come off, and Tell.
Yeah, Tell just comes over and gives a high five to Kolo Muani and to Simmons. And here they come, just in time for the corner. There's been a goal at Villa Park. Aston Villa against West Ham. Ross Eaton
It's bad news. Aston Villa 2, West Ham 0. Ollie Watkins with a tap in at the far post. It was a shot from the edge of the penalty area from Morgan Rogers, and Hermansen, he didn't parry it particularly well, and Watkins was able to squeeze it in at that far post. Long way back now for the Irons. Aston Villa 2, West Ham 0.
Well, at the moment it's Midlands 2, London 0. Can Tottenham hit back here with a quarter of the game to go? In comes the corner from Pedro Porro. It's nutted down, and Romero can't get to it before it's cleared away by Murillo at the back. And it's Udogie who picks up possession for Spurs just inside his own half, gives it to Simons. He's going to whip a ball out towards Kolo Muani on the left, leaps for it against Nico Williams, but it's over both of them, and now in a touch for a Forest throw-in on their right-hand side. Nico Williams in no hurry to take it.
It's fascinating with all the changes and the importance of set plays and how that's come back into fashion. Just some simple attributes of players in terms of doing their jobs. And the defenders this afternoon, Murillo and Milenkovic, you know what they've done, and just damn well, Andy, heading the ball. Simons scampering, that's a foul by Williams.
Simons wins the free kick.
He's saying it's a coming together, the referee, but he's breaking towards the edge of the box in a dangerous position.
Yeah.
Very lenient again from the referee. Another one today probably would have brandished.
Could have been a booking.
Maybe 7 or 8 yellow cards already.
And it just means as well, because he knocked him over just that far out, it's just possibly a bit far out for Pedro Porro to have a go here.
I think a double change for the visitors as well. Yates is one.
So Pedro Porro standing over this free kick.
Well, they've got to take advantage of one of these, Spurs. They've had so many free kicks and corners, Andy, across this game.
They're very deliberate about it. I think the crowd are thinking you've got to show a bit more urgency here, Spurs. Pedro Porro clipping it into the box. Archie Gray chests it down. Danso tries to hook it back across, but it already run over the goal line, and it will be a goal kick to Nottingham Forest. We've got 21 minutes to go, and Spurs are trailing 2-0 and running out of time. Forest are about to make a couple of changes. Yates, who scored against Michelin in the week, to help them to that victory over Michelin. And Michelin missed all their penalties in the shootout. And there's also going to be a change up front with Awoniyi coming on.
Hudson-Odoi's the other one, isn't he? He's gone off in front of the Nottingham Forest fans who are giving him a claim over on that far side. Yates and Awoniyi are on the two changes.
Igor Jesus, straight swap for Awoniyi, and then Yates has come into a midfield for Forest. Long-serving player for them. He's the guy that usually is sent out when a manager gets fired at Forest, because he's a real culture setter for them. A guy who's been there a long time, about 200 appearances, and heartbeat of the squad really. And so a player in this situation, 2-0 up, will fight tooth and nail to try and hold on to this 3 points that could be so valuable for Forest. We're into the quarterfinals of the Europa League, the competition won of course by Tottenham last season, and if they can stay up and go well in that one, it will be quite reminiscent of what Tottenham did last season if they could go all the way and win it. Danso playing it to Romero. Romero floating it forward towards Kolo Muani, nodding it down for Solanke. Now with Udogie, Simons. A lot of attacking players out there now for Spurs. They're all in a line across the edge of the penalty area really. As Forest drop deeper and deeper. This is Gray in centre field to Simons, the Netherlands international, flicks that to Udogie. Now Sarr. Simons again. Whips in across, it's too deep. That's going to be left to go out for a goal kick. Not good enough. in the situation that for Spurs. And the crowd have tried their darndest so far, but just starting to get the feeling that they're starting to lose belief as well.
Yeah, that's when you need to sort of hold your nerve, find composure, don't force it, because you play into the Forest hands, and that's exactly what they want. You know, there's one or two of the Spurs fans look a little bit dejected here and fearing the worst.
Goal kick for Forest, sent forward by Sells. Bergvall can't get ahead on that, it's over him, and then Gibbs White scored the second goal, wins a throw-in.
What they've done as well, they've been quite smart, they've used gamesmanship, they've made changes, there's been stoppages in the game, and it's not allowed Spurs any real momentum or quick response, Andy, like you sort of asked for, because it's needs must now for Tottenham Hotspur.
Gibbs White gets it to Nico Williams. That's a pass drilled across the pitch. Udogie heads it forward. Solanke will get to the loose ball first. Yates couldn't get to it. Now it's forward to Udogie. Yates comes across to try and tackle Udogie and does well. Aina will then play a short pass to Sangare. Then Yates puts it out for a throw into Spurs halfway line. Sarr to Gray. Sarr then gives it to Romero. 17 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Both London sides losing 2-0. With West Ham 2-0 down at Villa Park. Spurs trailing 2-0 here to Forest, one of their relegation rivals. Forest getting the ball away to Anderson. Anderson sending that forward for a one-year to chase. Vicario's come a long way, and he's had to boot it straight into touch. I don't know if it's because of his...
It's a brilliant pass though, isn't it, to relieve the pressure. Anderson's awareness, he's just clipped the ball over the shoulder of Romero. He's got a striker, Nottingham Forest number 9, Aubameyang, just sort of fresh legs running in behind, and Vicario just sliced the ball out. Perfect for Forest, throw in. It's a free kick, but the game's just gone, you know, very, very scruffy.
Yeah, that's what Forest want, isn't it, really? They just want to break it up, have lots of delays, don't let Spurs get any rhythm, get the crowd into it again. So at the moment, Forest are doing everything just right in terms of trying to see this out and get the 3 points. Head back up to the East Midlands. 3 points clear of the relegation zone. And with Tottenham below them. Sarr playing that in front of Gray. Gray. Forest with 10 men behind the ball at the moment. Romero out to the right to Gray again.
Yeah, they're just starting to run out of idea a little bit, aren't they, Spurs? You know, they need to find creativity here.
Well, they need a bit more movement in those players on the edge of the box as well. Here comes the cross from Udogie. It's straight across Bergvall, sliding onto it.
Yeah, that was
just
better.
Couldn't get it on target.
Good move.
They're flooding the box, aren't they? But they're just, at times, they just seem to be all in a line. But it worked well.
It's a big chance that 75 minutes on the clock. Udogie used the full touchline, took the ball really well, and he's curled a flatter, lower ball in, not in the air. And Bergvall arrived, he was on the stretch, maybe just didn't quite move his feet quick enough and anticipate the speed of the ball, and he's prodded his shot wide of the goal.
Goal kick from Sells. Simons is underneath it, heads it forward. It's Ola Aina who slices his ball into touch, and it's going to be throw into Spurs, which will be taken by Udogie. The former Udinese and the current Italy international plays it back across the back four to Danso. Now Romero on it, gives it to Gray. Pedro Porro being pushed forward more and more down that right-hand side. Gray gives it to Pedro Porro, little 1-2. Nico Williams comes across, spotted the danger, couldn't get the ball off Gray, and then it's Anderson who puts it behind.
Well, he's still going. Fair play to Archie Gray. Keeps driving forward, keeps making unselfish runs. And Spurs another corner here. It's going to be swung outwards from the right. Pedro Porro to take.
I still think there's plenty in this for Tottenham if they can get a goal back at this kind of stage. As Forest have kept hold of the loose ball and they throw it on to disrupt this corner. Now that's off the pitch. Pedro Porro preparing to take it. In it comes, flicked up in the air by Gibbs White. Oh, it's a big deflection. That could have gone anywhere. It's dribbled past Sells post.
Yeah, Sangare did not know anything about that. He did very well. The ball looped out from Gibbs White's heady clearance. Sarr volleyed it. It was on target, and it's just hit the midfielder and deflected away for another corner.
Come on, you Spurs, is the cry. Corner from the left-hand side, sent in, headed up in the air again by Forrest, who defended that 6-yard box so well. Then it's nodded forward by Danso straight to Sells, and it will be a chance for Spurs, for Forest rather, to clear their lines once again. And time starting to run out for Spurs here this afternoon. Not the afternoon any of these Spurs fans were hoping for so far. They got some rhythm up in that first half. If they'd got a goal when they were on top, it could have been so different, but Forest held out, took their chance at the end of the first half from the corner, and then once again clinical when they worked it into the box through Hudson-Odoi to Gibbs White, who I just had a feeling today would have some part to play given that protracted transfer story in the summer. And his goal has given Forest that cushion at the moment as Spurs head it forward through Romero. One of many players in this Tottenham lineup where you think you just cannot envisage him playing in the Championship. A World Cup winner who's off to the World Cup again this summer as a member of the Holders squad. Udogie crossing the halfway line, gives it to Simons. Cutting in field, trying to thread that through towards Udogie. Comes back towards Simons. Anderson plays it nice and cool to Hutchinson, who's been fouled rather neatly.
Yeah, that's what the winger wanted. They're going to make another change as well. Ndoye is going to come on.
Substitution for Nottingham Forest replacing number 21, Hutchinson.
So Hutchinson coming off. He's going to be replaced by Ndoye, who will come on in the same position, the former Nice, Basel and Bologna winger, and Switzerland international as well. Who scored on debut against Brentford at the start of the season. Ball floated forward, headed away by Danso, and that'll be out for a throw-in to Ola Aina and Nottingham Forest on the right-hand side. Ola Aina into the box he goes towards the centre forward. It's then Yates working hard on the edge of the Tottenham penalty area. Udogie trying to get the ball back off him. Sangare joins in. It's a real scramash on this near side, and then it comes off a Forest player last and out for a goal kick.
Yeah, those sort of skirmishes, duels, challenges, sort of the ugly side of the game in this match. Sangare and Anderson, I think, have done that particularly well, haven't they, at the heart of the Nottingham Forest midfield across this game.
That's all they need to do really now, is just to
if it's stifle Spurs.
Ugly. Yates almost wins that back off Danso. Comes to Romero though. And Romero forward to Bergvall. That's a brilliant bit of skill to get away from Anderson from Bergvall. Great dummy. He's driving forward to the edge of the box. He tried to find Simons, but Simons was going in the other direction. Just not on the same wavelength there.
Yeah, it was a pity. A no-touch turn there from Bergvall, and he just tried to thread diagonally, and he already run forward himself, Simons, and the ball went behind him and ended up going through to Sells.
Udogie judged to have fouled his man again. And Ndoye goes down.
Yeah, clever from the sub. A burst of speed. First to the bouncing ball. One or two of the Tottenham Hotspur players just look in body language, Andy, don't they?
Yeah.
A bit dejected here. And maybe the remainder of this game, the task is too great for them, and you can hear those Forest fans. I don't think they can quite believe it, in all honesty.
No.
They haven't been at their best, but 2 chances, clinical, and that's the difference this afternoon.
Down the line go Forest from the free kick. Just over 8 minutes of the 90 to go. Anderson clipping it forward for Ndoye to chase, but that's too far beyond the winger, and it will go out for a goal kick to Spurs. You mentioned at the start of the second half, Bradley, it was given the way Tottenham had played in the first half, it felt like if they could just start well in the second half, the game was very much in the balance for them, but it felt like a goal was coming and Forest got it, and now they've shut the game down to the point where Spurs are finding it very difficult to get any rhythm whatsoever, to really create many chances. Here's Simons, maybe he can make something happen. Romero, Simons takes it off his toes, then tries to get it to Udogie, comes back to Xavi Simons, he pulls it back across the pitch to Sarr. Now Bergvall, just outside the box, trying to clip a pass in. Pedro Porro, he gets it across goal and Sarr can't turn it in. It's a corner, is it? No, he's given a goal kick. Or has he changed his mind? No, it is a goal kick.
Yeah, I think it is. Gallagher's going to be a late change, 83 minutes on the clock for Tottenham. Archie Gray off. He'll get a good ovation.
Yeah, even runs off, which you don't see that often, but we'll see more of next season when they're bringing in those regulations. Bradley, you've got to get straight off the field or you have to wait another minute.
Yeah, let's see if the refs apply it.
Yeah.
Watch this space.
Yeah. Goal kick then to Forest. Sells, pumping it forward, upfield, kind of free header for Yates. Then it falls for Ndoye. That's yet another foul against Udogie. Michael Oliver holds his hands out as if to say, well, you're the one who keeps making the challenges.
But each stoppage, another 20-30 seconds ebb away from this game. The management and the art of that has been very mature, isn't it, from Nottingham Forest across this second.
Vitor Pereira closing in on his first league win as Forest manager. Ball floated into the box by Forest, headed away by Romero. Then a long-range volley from Nico Williams, bounces right in front of the keeper Vicario, who gets everything behind that and makes the save. Sarr playing it in front of Romero for all the efforts that the fans went to before the game, welcoming the players to the ground. It's not come off so far as Murillo gets it away as far as Anderson. Now Nico Williams in front of those away fans in that corner of the ground, trying to play it clear up the line. There's a battle with Gibbs White for the ball there, and the referee's given the free kick. I thought that was one that he could have let go there. That was just 2 players back.
Very clever. Very, very clever from Gibbs White. Before he even got the ball, the bit of contact that he felt from Bergvall, he used it, and there you go, another stoppage.
And look at Yates just getting the crowd.
Pumping the Nottingham Forest crowd. And they've certainly got a measure of this game.
So Nottingham Forest, who haven't won themselves since January the 25th, closing in on what could be a massive victory. There's just 7 league games to go after this for both these sides, and Forest will be 2 points clear of Spurs and 3 clear of West Ham in the relegation battle, just 1 point behind Leeds United.
Well, I think, Andy, you're going to ask me the question, I'm certain, before the end of the show this afternoon. It's going to go right to the end for both our London sides, isn't it? The way it's going.
That game, West Ham Leeds, is looming at the end of the season, of course, last day of the season.
Spurs have got Everton here. Wow.
A very good away side, of course, Everton as well.
Yeah, he's done a good job, David Moyes, hasn't he?
Very good yesterday, didn't they?
Yeah, great win
against Chelsea. It's a corner for Forest, and sadly, Bradley, I was, expecting this stage of the game that Spurs would be all over Forest, but Forest are just ambling forward for this corner at the Spurs end of the ground, and they're really not being put under that kind of duress at the moment in the closing stages. Here comes the corner for Nottingham Forest. It's headed away by Romero. There's no one up there for Spurs, despite the fact they're 2-0 down, and Forest can just play it back to Sells, their goalkeeper. He's going to launch it into the corner past Gibbs White. Nico Williams is there. We'll try and get a cross in here. And Wadley's arriving! It's 3 for Forest! And that finishes this one off. And who knows what it will do to Spurs' chances of staying up this season. Still without a win in the league in this calendar year. Nottingham Forest, one of their rivals for relegation, have scored 3 here, just as they did against Spurs at the City Ground. With 3 minutes of the 90 to go, the fans leave in their droves. It's Tottenham 0, Nottingham Forest 3.
Yeah, that's game, set and match. Long ball forward, Gibbs White challenge start. And when the ball was picked up, it was curled in, and the substitute, one he did very well, he just drifted away. Another fine cross. They've actually found quality in that area in big moments, Nottingham Forest, and he couldn't miss. Just a volley finish from close range. And it's the Nottingham Forest fans that you can hear. This game is done. And how important for both these sides could this victory be for Nottingham Forest and his 3 Premier League points this afternoon here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium?
Well, it just feels so hollow now for Tottenham Hotspur, their fans, the players. They've had the stuffing knocked out of them. And the boos are ringing out. It's not been a narrow defeat. They've been beaten by 3 here, unless there's a late goal or 2 as Solanke comes forward. He hits a great volley just outside the D. It's a brilliant save from Sells away to his left.
Yeah, it was. He just bustled forward. Fair play to Solanke's efforts. Never fully had control of the ball, but he was direct. He got beyond Milenkovic initially. He's hit it with the outside of the right foot. It was going away to Sells' left, but he's got a fingertip to tip it round for a Spurs corner. Fine save.
Corner from the right for Spurs. Just 1 minute 20 to go of the 90. In it comes. It's headed goalwards by Solanke and then wide on the follow-up by Kolo Muani. It just will not go in today for Spurs.
Well, there was a header and first contact finally from a corner. Solanke, got it on the target. He's parried it down. It come quick at Muani. He was outside the right post. And on that rebound, he wasn't able to steer his header back on target and give Spurs a consolation goal on the 90th minute.
Sells made that crucial save at the end of the first half, Bradley. It's looking more important by every minute, isn't it? If that had been the equaliser right at the end of the first half, another of those what-if moments, but Sells was there. He was such a brilliant keeper for them last season. It's been a bit more disrupted this time around, but a couple of big moments in this game for him. Great save. 2 saves there from Solanke in the space of a minute from Sells. Free kick to Spurs, but it's done now, isn't it? Just look how much the stand has emptied well before the end here.
Yeah, fourth official is just going to put the board up. Signal, it's still 5.
Spurs with the free kick. Pedro Porro will take it. Here it comes, Pedro Porro whipping that straight across the face of goal, but it's too high for anyone who's in there. And look at him trudging away, just sheer dejection among the Spurs players. Looking around the ground, I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say 2/3 of the home crowd have left. The Forest fans haven't left at all, obviously. They are going to milk this and celebrate wildly at the end of this one. 2 more changes for Forest. Dominguez is coming on for the visitors, and James McAtee also coming on. Gibbs White makes way. He
important goal.
The team, and Anderson as well.
And Anderson acknowledging the coaching staff, the Nottingham Forest fans, as he goes off the field of play. What a player he is. He's going to be on the radar of top 6 clubs, especially if he goes and impresses at the World Cup for England this summer. A real talent.
Yeah, fantastic player. Simmons trying to head the ball down from the restart, from the goal kick. Kolo Muani, that's come off Gallagher and then off Dominguez. Finally comes to Pedro Porro, playing it up the touchline. It's one of those awful moments if you're a football fan, as Gallagher just flicked that straight out of the touch, thinking Pedro Porro was there.
You made a good point, Andy, actually, before the kick-off this afternoon, and we were both in agreement. Listen, it's not everything, and there's still important Premier League fixtures for Spurs to still salvage their season, but they've got to stew on the disappointment of this. A lot of these players have got to go away now in the coming week on international duty for various nations, and then upon their return, you know, Spurs have the small matter of a difficult away game at Sunderland. They've won a North East derby this afternoon, haven't they, at Newcastle?
Yeah.
And they've had a fine season under their coach upon return to this level, so that is not going to be easy at all for Tottenham Hotspur.
Brighton and Wolves follow that one for Spurs. Brighton the next home game, as the woes continue for Spurs in the Premier League this year. Ball's out for a throw-in deep in their own half for Spurs. Pedro Porro will take it. I was going to say, it's one of those awful moments in football matches where the match is completely done and dusted, plays having to continue, but in some sports they just call this off, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they shake hands, wouldn't they, and move on,
because Forest have got what they came for. There's not much left to be gained for them in the game. For Spurs, even a goal at this stage would not lift the gloom for anyone. I wouldn't even class it as a consolation. Now there's a bit of a moment between Kolomuani and Yates. Igor Tudor almost gets involved in that, as Danso plays it across the back in front of Romero. They really built this up to try and get everyone unified behind the team, and the match has just not played out in the way that anyone from a Spurs point of view would have hoped. The commentary team alongside us, Bradley, from our colleagues in Nottingham, will be raving about this performance from Forest. It's a classic away performance, if you like.
It certainly is. You know, they come with a game plan. You know, you probably speak about Spurs' approach, and I thought it was good in terms of the first half, with Spurs having had, you know, and knowing that Nottingham Forest played away in Europe on Thursday evening, and they went for Forest, didn't they? They were direct, they played with an intensity, they put them on the back foot, put crosses in the box. They earned and deserved a load of set plays, but they just did not take advantage of that style of football and approach. And then when it needed something different in this second half, where Nottingham Forest resiliently have defended their penalty box and that craft and guile, Spurs didn't quite have a plan B or C to go to, Andy, did they? And Forest then scored, got in front, and they've managed the game really expertly well. And you'd have to say, you know, it's an important day for them.
Well, I've talked about Forest goal scoring problems, but Richarlison, with 9 goals, has scored twice as many as any other teammate for Spurs, and obviously Solanke's been out a while. The final whistle is blown, and some of the Tottenham players fall to the ground. They have been humbled here by Forest in what was a game of such huge proportions in their battle to try and stay in the league. They were hoping, desperately hoping, the Tottenham fans, for a first league win of 2026, but it continues to prove so elusive. Forest had to defend manfully at times in that first half as Spurs came at them, but they got the goal just before the break through Igor Jesus. They added another one through Gibbs White at the start of the second half, and then Awoniyi finishing the job with a third. The Spurs players hardly seem to know where to look at this final whistle. Romero is trudging off down the tunnel, and the Forest players will head over to the massed ranks of their supporters in the corner of the ground. The rest of the ground is virtually deserted, as the Spurs fans, who came out in such numbers today to try and help their team to that elusive victory, have had to leave well before the final whistle, given the parlous state of Tottenham's season as it stands. They are just outside the relegation zone still, and Forest have moved ahead of them in the relegation battle. It's finished here, agonisingly for Spurs fans. Tottenham 0, Nottingham Forest 3.
Total Sport Live.
BBC Radio London.
Back with Andy and Bradley in a moment or two. Let's just catch up with events then at Villa Park. Aston Villa against West Ham United. DAB Digital Radio. Disappointment 2 for West Ham today. Ross Heaton can tell us the story.
Yes, Aston Villa 2, West Ham 0, and the Irons' relegation woes grow after defeat here in the West Midlands. It was deserved as well. John McGinn gave the Midlanders an early lead. A cute free kick from Cash eventually came for the Scot on the edge of the D, and he curled it left-footed past the sprawling Hermanson. Villa were awarded a penalty after a challenge from Mavropanos on Watkins, but that was rightly overruled on VAR review, with the Greek defender taking it cleanly. Mavropanos also pulled off a superb goal line clearance from a point-blank effort from Rodgers as well. But after the break, the decisive moment, Villa got their second. Watkins with a far post tap in, Rodgers with the effort. Hermanson parried, but not quite far enough, and Watkins gobbled up the rebound. It finished here. Aston Villa 2, West Ham 0.
Pete Turnbull watching that one, and Bradley Allen watching at Tottenham Hotspur as well. Lee, can I bring you in first, and Bradley as well? But Lee, just in regards to your game, you sort of said that West Ham United in the first half maybe could have been further behind. Aston Villa maybe just too good for them today. Is this defeat less damaging for West Ham though than what we are going to talk to Bradley about, do you think, considering where Villa are and considering with the fact that they've not actually lost any sort of points really in the race to stay up because Spurs lost?
Yeah, I mean, West Ham would have come here full of hope. You know, Villa played in Europe on Thursday night, and sometimes that affects you. But wow, they were second best by a country mile today, right. Phil. Never really laid a glove on Villa. John McGinn's excellent early goal really set the tone. Villa dominated. West Ham made changes at half-time, which give them a little bit of a lift for 15 minutes. And apart from that, you know, nothing really from the Hammers. You know, Callum Wilson went 4-4-2 second half. They had a little bit of a go for 15 minutes. Ollie Watkins gets the second goal, and then honestly, Villa had the slippers on. It was comfortable. No, it's not defining for West Ham. There's a lot of football to be played, without a doubt. I would imagine Tottenham are hurting a lot more than West Ham at the moment, given that Forest are down there as well with them. But Forest, West Ham, Leeds, Tottenham, yeah, take your pick. I think that point that Leeds got against Brentford last night looks to be a great one now. Fantastic point. It'll go right to the wire, won't it? And more twists and turns for sure, but West Ham weren't great today, Phil.
No, it doesn't sound like it. Bradley, you talked about the effort that Spurs put in that first half. Goals can be cruel, can't they, really, from Tottenham Hotspur's point of view. I mean, how much does the record count against them? I mean, the midweek against Atletico Madrid, we have to put that into context. They've won every single Champions League game at home this season, so the Champions League has been better for Spurs, but maybe there's a reason for that with the way that the competition and teams play in the competition. But today this feels damaging again. Still haven't won in the Premier League this year. Only 3 home victories in the Premier League in 12 months for Tottenham Hotspur. It's becoming a bit of an albatross.
Yeah, I think you've beat me to it there, Phil. You know, they won obviously Madrid midweek, couldn't turn around the aggregate deficit, even though it was a home victory. But that's my greatest concern, Phil. I think for Spurs and the remaining fixtures that they have, where are they going to pick the points up? And the record says games here in the Premier League for 2 seasons now, Phil, they just haven't won enough, and I really worry about that. And that just might, although West Ham are a point behind and Spurs have a greater goal difference and an advantage there, you'd actually say that West Ham, maybe with their remaining home games at the London Stadium, might get enough points to just get over the line and pit their North London bitter rivals. And Spurs, I'm not sure. You know, they've got to play Leeds here, they've got to play Everton here, they've got to play Brighton here. Phil, can you honestly say, with Spurs' current home record for a long time, are they going to have the confidence going into those games? You know, the crowd were amazing. I would credit Spurs' efforts and intensity and direct style in the first half. But Nottingham Forest, you know, credit to them, they withstood that, and then they pinched the goal, and then in the second half Spurs sort of tried that again, but they lacked any real significant quality. And once Forest scored a second and third, this game was done. And that's going to be the thing. If teams come here and they sort of say, well, Spurs are going to do this, the crowd are going to be up, and then you sort of take that away from Tottenham. Well, what next? How are they going to approach tactics, quality of football? You know, Kraft and Gala use those words. The players that can offer that, you know, there's a lack of confidence, and there will be a lack of belief now with what's to come. And you know, Spurs have got a break. These players have got international duty. Sunderland away next. That's no easy Premier League team. And as we know, Phil, and you rightly say, you know, 3 Premier League points and a Premier League win are so hard to come by now in the modern era.
Lee, next up for West Ham in the league, and we're a long way away, 10th of April, I think, Friday night, Wolverhampton Wanderers. Then it's Palace away, Everton at home, a trip to Brentford. It'll be important for them to bounce back. I saw Wolves at Brentford on Monday night. They're playing some great football, actually, to be fair to Wolves. They're going down with a fight. Both of these teams, both sets of fans are now going to look at where are they going to get maybe the 2 or 3 wins. Maybe 2 wins will be enough, 2 and a couple of draws to stay up.
Yeah, on this performance, West Ham are banging trouble. They're banging trouble, and I wouldn't bet against Wolverhampton Wanderers turning up, because Rob Edwards has got a tune out of them.
Yes, yeah.
You're right, they've got to go to Palace, they've got Everton at home, they've got to go to Brentford, they've got Arsenal, Newcastle, and finish with Leeds at home. That's not easy. And when you're not in form, Phil, all of a sudden, that lack of confidence, that lack of quality, there was a distinct lack of quality in the first half from West Ham, just in terms of passing the ball, and you can see after the second goal, not gone under, but lost belief in themselves and their teammates, and that is a worrying sign, a really worrying sign. I would caveat the Tottenham situation by saying we know that they can pull a result out, as they did midweek and went to Anfield obviously last weekend and got a point up at Liverpool, but from what I've seen with my eyes today, this West Ham side are banging trouble. They're banging trouble.
Lee, thank you very much. Bradley, final word to you, really. And Lee, obviously a sign of encouragement there for Spurs. I will temper that with I thought Liverpool were really poor last week, and we saw what happened at Brighton yesterday. I think the Champions League is a very different competition, and I think this is a discussion we can have later in the season. I just think the football is different. The football in the Premier League at the moment is being played differently, and Spurs aren't able to cope with that and break down opponents.
Yeah, I think, you know, against a deep defensive block, Spurs have had struggles against that sort of approach when teams tactically set up in that nature. And we said at the end of commentary, myself and Andy, you're probably looking at it, Phil. I think West Ham and Spurs are going to probably have to go down to their last 2 or 3 games to determine if they're going to retain Premier League status. So it's going to be further nerves, huge pressure, and that's going to build and mount over the coming weeks upon return after the international break.
Bradley, there'll be a lot of discussion to be had. I will leave you for the time being, though. Thank you for your time this afternoon. Thanks to Andy and to Lee and to Ross Heaton, who battled through a very increasingly sore throat. I hope he gets a chance to gargle something at home later. Let's go to Wembley, heading towards kickoff in the League Cup final. Manchester City taking on the Gunners, of course. Arsenal looking for their first silverware in 6 years. Harry Symeou and Xavi Bird are there. All the formalities will take place before kickoff in 7 minutes time, just under. Can you just remind us of the team news first, chaps?
Yeah, absolutely. Arsenal have had to make a number of changes to the side today, largely due to the injuries that they're having to deal with at the moment. David Raya is not in goal. Kepa Arrizabalaga starts and continues in this competition. Ben White comes in at right back. The rest of the defence is made up of Saliba, Gabriel and Piero Hincapié. And then you move into the midfield, where it is, of course, Declan Rice and Martin Zubimendi. There's no Eberechi Eze, which means that Kai Havertz starts in that number 10 position. Interestingly, Saka will play from the right, Trossard from the left, and Victor Gyökeres will lead the line for the Gunners. For Manchester City, they're without some key players too, most notably in the heart of the defence. There's no Mark Guehi, and of course there's no Ruben Diaz. It's Trafford in goal. Nunez, Kusanov, Ake and O'Reilly are the back four. Rodri, Bernardo Silva, Cherki and Doku are the midfield, with Semenyo and Haaland in attack. And Phil, The atmosphere inside this stadium right now is incredible. There's a sea of red away to our left and there's a scene of blue away to our right. Everybody's in brilliant voice. The light show's going on. Both sets of supporters up on their feet and ready for this one. Kick-off just a few moments away.
Yeah, I mean, I know Arsenal fans don't care, Zav, probably about Spurs or West Ham United, but London football could do it. It was a good day yesterday for London football. Not such a good day so far. So we could do, Spurs fans won't thank me for saying this, with a bit of good news to end the day. But it's
I think
Arsenal.
it would compound the misery, wouldn't it, Phil?
For Spurs
on what has been a
fans, it
horrible
would, yeah.
day for Tottenham Hotspur. The only benefit for them, of course, is that West Ham also lost. But if Arsenal were to win their first trophy in 6 years, and of course, first League Cup since 1993, a long time ago, and it would set them on their way potentially for what is still an unprecedented quadruple. It's a long way to go yet, but this could have huge ramifications in the title race, of course. Man City 9 points below Arsenal as it stands, and if Arsenal win today, they've not only got the psychological advantage, but then they can really hammer that home, I think, in the last couple of months of the season.
And Harry, Xavi was saying earlier that there's a degree of tension around the Emirates in recent weeks, and there probably will be until the title is over the line. Is this an opportunity to maybe, I know that obviously they want to win some silverware, and we've talked about the potential psychological boost that it can have, but can they relax a little bit because it's a cup final?
Yeah, I think they can, Phil. I think Arsenal, as I've said many, many times over the last few days, you know, they've got so much to play for this season that they don't have all their eggs in any one particular basket. It doesn't feel like the last chance for the Gunners here today, and they have to relax. You know, I feel like the result against Everton in the Premier League and then what happened later on that night at the London Stadium gave Arsenal the breathing space that they probably need to feel that little bit more comfortable. But it was the nature, I think, of that Everton victory that really got everybody believing that this could well be Arsenal's year. And listen, we're sat in the press box here at Wembley, Phil. You've been here, you know what it's like. We're slightly to the right of the halfway line, which means that we are much closer to the Manchester City support than we are the Arsenal support. But you can only hear one end of the stadium at the moment. This feels almost like a home game for Arsenal. It's in their city, it's their moment, it's their time. That's the feeling around Arsenal right now. But they've got to go out on the pitch and deliver this afternoon. And if they can, you just wonder, don't you, what kind of positive chain reaction victory here at Wembley could spark for the Gunners.
Well, enjoy the game, guys. It's live on our sister station, BBC Radio 5 Live. You two are going to obviously be updating us through social media as well on BBC Radio London, and with reaction tomorrow morning in breakfast and tomorrow evening as well. National Anthem about to get off and underway for that one. Spurs beaten 3-0 at home by Nottingham Forest. West Ham United beaten 2-0 by Aston Villa away from home. Both in the bottom four in the Premier League. Arsenal, can they lift the League Cup? We'll find out this afternoon. Huge thanks to Harry, to Xavi, to Lee and Ross and Andy and Bradley, and especially Tom. We're going to hand you to Gabby Roslin and the Make a Difference show.